Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto met a younger Yujito before Akatsuki reached her. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content, and do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. It has been a year and a half since our favorite blonde Jinchuriki embarked on his training trip with Jiraiya of the legendary 3. Though the trip is only halfway through, the boy has grown physically as well as in the ninja arts. However, not everything can change so soon. Naruto-senin, we've been walking for days. Where the hell are we heading? Exclaimed Naruto as he and his perverted sensei continued walking up some path deeper into some unknown mountains. Jiraiya, though, just kept looking straight ahead with a stoic look on his face, apparently paying no attention to the annoyed blonde in his company, which just managed to irk Naruto more. What if Naruto met a younger Yujito before Akatsuki reached her? But before Naruto could retort again, Jiraiya let a smile cross his face as he noticed something in the distance. Huh? What are you smiling at now, Naruto-senin? There's no bathhouses out here in the middle of freaking nowhere, shouted Naruto, frustrated that all they have been doing for the last week was walking and no training. You're right, Gaki, but we are not nowhere. Take a look up ahead, said the legendary ninja as he raised his arm, pointing ahead of them, ignoring the bathhouse comment from his student. Naruto looked up and became stunned. Huh, West, what is this place? Asked the confused blonde as they continued walking towards what seemed to be a large village that seemingly appeared out of nowhere. Oh? You don't know this place? Asked the smirking Sannin, obviously playing on Naruto's lack of knowledge of the world outside of the Fire Country. Does it look like I know this place? We were hiking through these mountains until we are so high up that we are in the clouds, and then out of nowhere comes some huge village. Naruto ranted until he got to the end, thinking about what he was saying till his eyes lit up. So it seems you noticed. Welcome to the Hidden Cloud Village, said Jiraiya, watching excitement, wonder, realization, and then finally shock all play across the boy's face, and said, order. Hold on, are we even friendly with this village? Shouted Naruto, confused. Well, we might not be outright allied with them like we are with the sand. We are also not at war with them. Besides, I was invited here by the Raikage to brief him on what I know about Akatsuki. The more all the hidden villages know about them, the harder it will be for them to move around easily, explained Jiraiya as they approached the main gate to the Cloud Village. Naruto listened to Jiraiya but cringed at the mentioning of that organization. He could still clearly remember his last encounter with them, and he sure as hell didn't want to. Nothing pissed Naruto off more than knowing what Akatsuki was after at the moment. Halt! State your purpose in coming here to the Hidden Cloud, announced one of the two guards posted at the large gate to the village. We are here by invitation from Raikage. I am Jiraiya of the legendary 3, responded Jiraiya to the guard, surprising Naruto that he didn't do his retarded dance along with it. Ah yes, Jiraiya-sama, Raikage has been expecting you. And who is this? The guard asked, glancing over towards Naruto. This is my apprentice Uzumaki Naruto. Don't worry though, he's too much of a baka to do anything to compromise your village, replied Jiraiya, causing Naruto to shout back, yelling that he's not a baka and that Jiraiya is just an old perv. The guard chuckled at their antics. Very well, please follow me. I'll escort you to Raikage, said the guard as he started to walk towards their destination. Once they arrived at the desired building, the guard took his leave. Naruto, stay out here, said Jiraiya, looking back at his student sternly. What? Why? Naruto retorted. But Jiraiya had already went inside, leaving Naruto to himself. Damn that Naruto-senin, just leaving me out here like that, said Naruto as he turned around and leaned against the wall to wait. Suddenly he found himself pulled into his mindscape in front of a familiar prison cell. I can take care of him if you want, kid. All you gotta do, I dash. No. I'm not letting you out, so stop asking for a ball. Heh, well anyway, you're getting pretty good with those wind jutsu you've been learning, kid. Thanks, I still need to get better with the hand seals though, I really do suck at them. I can use my chakra to weigh your hands down to improve your speed next time you train, kid. Yeah, that would help a lot, thanks again, furball. Hey! Gaki, snap out of it. Naruto came back to the real world to Jiraiya, waving his hand in his face. So are we done here? I want to get back to my training, said Naruto impatiently. Yes, I am done, however I have to scout out a possible Akatsuki hideout not too far from here that Raikage mentioned. That being said, I want you to stay here till I return, explained Jiraiya, getting ready for the million questions that were undoubtedly about to burst from his student. What? Why the hell do you want me to stay here, and what am I supposed to do? Just wander around here? Asked Naruto, shouting like usual. Naruto, you know what Akatsuki is after. I'm not going to bring you right into their hands, and also I talked it over with Raikage, said Jiraiya as he reached into his pocket for something. Here, this is a pass acknowledging that Reikage is allowing you to stay here till my return, continued Jiraiya, handing Naruto the scroll. As for your last question, you can take the time to learn about this village. Fine, said Naruto, looking down. He knew he couldn't join Jiraiya if he was in fact going near a potential Akatsuki base. Hey, cheer up, Gaki. After this, I promise I'll be teaching you some great new jutsu. Besides, who knows, you may find yourself some hot young cloud girl, said Jiraiya with one of his perverted grins, thinking about all the research he could gather on a forbidden love between a couple from 2 different villages. Just leave already so we can get out of here faster, shouted Naruto, ignoring his comment about finding a girl. Everywhere they went, the pervert had to bring up finding him a girl in some way, and it was getting annoying since with all the time the old perv wasted on the subject he could have already learned a new jutsu or 2. Geez, alright, I'll get going. But seriously, I know how you think you should be loyal to that pink-haired girl, but that may never happen. You're too young to reserve yourself in such a way. If you actually do meet a girl, don't deny yourself that happiness. 'Cause I sure as hell don't see that other girl denying her happiness even for a second if your other teammate came knocking on her door. And with that said, Jiraiya disappeared in a swirl of leaves. I guess he's right, isn't he? Oh well, I guess I'll just take a look around and compare this place to Konoha. Better than standing around here dwelling on what if, said Naruto as he turned around and journeyed through the streets of the hidden cloud. After about an hour of walking around, his stomach told him it was time to get some food. So Naruto, being Naruto, asked a local for directions to nearest ramen bar, which is where he was heading at the moment. Upon arriving, Naruto took a seat in the middle of the empty bar and was greeted by a friendly elderly man. Welcome to Cloud Ramen. What can I get for you, lad? Greeted whom Naruto guessed was the owner. I'll have a large order of the best pork ramen you can make, requested Naruto in his usual cheery tone when it came to ordering his beloved ramen. It'll be ready in a jiffy, lad, and you won't be disappointed, fair. I make the best ramen in all the Lightning Country, replied the old man as he started to make the meal. Yosh! I can't wait to try this Cloud Ramen, squealed a drooling Naruto in his head. But Naruto's thoughts were interrupted as he heard another customer enter and take a seat 2 stools away. I was wondering when our favorite customer was going to show up. Shrimp again, right? Greeted and asked the elderly owner of the bar. Of course. You know me too well, Kenichi, replied the new arrival, in which Naruto realized was a girl. Naruto looked over. It was a girl maybe a little older than himself. She had long blonde hair wrapped in a tight ponytail down to her waist. She was garbed in what Naruto noticed was the hidden Cloud Kunoichi uniform, a short-sleeved turtleneck shirt that was black on the top and gray from the breasts down. She also sported black ninja pants that stopped about mid-calves and had light purple clouds on the bottom of her left leg. Her ankles and arms were bandaged up, also wearing black ninja gloves. But as Naruto's gaze returned to her face, he noticed perhaps the most peculiar thing about the girl: her eyes. They were an obsidian color but were slanted oddly, huh? Whoa, she freaking looks like a cat with that stare. Wait a minute, stare? Sure enough, the girl a couple seats down from him was glaring at him. And what in the hell do you think you're looking at? Asked the Kunoichi. I'm sorry, responded Naruto, a bit embarrassed. He had indeed been staring at the girl. If anything, I should be staring at you since you're the one with those weird whiskers, retorted the girl. What? Well, you're one to talk with those eyes. You look like a cat or something, replied Naruto at the now shocked girl as they both growled at each other. Here's both of your orders, said the owner as he placed both bowls in front of the 2 growling ninja, who both seemed glazed over at the smell coming from below their noses. They both immediately broke their chopsticks. Itadakimasu, they both said in unison, completely forgetting about their bickering due to the seemingly genjutsu-like aroma. Both Jinchuriki were weak too. As both inhaled their meals, they finished at exactly the same time and almost as if practiced. Together they held their bowls forward. Another round, please. They both shouted, realizing that the other did the same thing. They began growling at each other once more. Already predicting both customers, the owner immediately handed them fresh bowls of their respected meals. Quicker than the untrained eye can follow, both Jinchuriki Gain began inhaling their ramen, both seemingly in a wordless battle of who can eat the most ramen. About a half hour later, and 20 combined bowls conquered, the 2 bottomless pit ninja had had their fill. The girl had a content smile on her face, and without a warning let out a rather loud purr. Naruto's eyes went wide at hearing this. "Hey, I knew you were a freaking cat," shouted Naruto, pointing at the girl. The girl closed her eyes, then a second later looked beyond pissed off. Naruto realized he just crossed that threshold, remembering all the beatings from Tsunade and Sakura. Oh shit! Run, Kit! Get the fuck out of here! Naruto immediately took off for his life, jumping up onto a nearby roof. Wait, you didn't even pay! Shouted Kenichi, the ramen bar owner. Shit shit, I forgot that I'm not in Konoha and I can't just take off like that. But if I go back I'm dead anyway. Thought Naruto, trying to think of a way to survive. That bastard, don't worry Kenichi, I'll drag his sorry ass back here and make him squeal if he doesn't pay, said the Cloud Kunoichi as she took off in pursuit of Naruto. But that's after I fillet him for making fun of me. A few minutes later Naruto was breathing heavy on top of some roof due to the near-death experience. Man, who the hell was that girl? She's even scarier than Bachan and Sakura-chan combined. Well, I guess I'll take a quick breather since it seems I lost that crazy cat girl, thought Naruto as he dropped to the ground, noticing he just dodged a roundhouse kick. Holy shit, screamed Naruto as he took off running again. What the hell? She's even as freaking agile as a cat too. I can't believe she got that close to me without myself knowing it. Get back here, you bastard! She shouted as she continued her pursuit. Damn it, what should I do? Wait, that's it. I hope to God this works, thought Naruto, coming up with a plan. Where did he go? Mumbled the girl as she looked through the crowd that Naruto had ran through. As she started to maneuver through the mob of people, she felt something or someone tap her shoulder. TCH, what is it? She mumbled angrily until she saw who it was. Oh, Samui-san. What is it? I'm kind of busy right now, she said as she noticed it was one of her fellow shinobi. Reikage needs you, he said. It's urgent, Samui informed, then shunshined away before Yujito could reply. Just great, I can't believe I didn't get that jerk the first time and now I may never, said Yujito as she too shunshined away. Back in an alley, YTTA. She fell for it. Now I'd better get back to that ramen bar and pay, he cheered Naruto, heading back to the ramen bar. Ugh, the bane of all Kages, all this paperwork, mumbled Reikage as he continuously stamped each paper handed to him. Oh come on, you only got a few more stacks left, replied the busted blonde, helping him. Just then the doors busted open, revealing a familiar Kunoichi. Ah, Yujito, what can I do for you? Replied the Reikage, looking up from his work at the blonde Jinchuriki. Confused, Yujito looked from the Reikage to Samui. Samui just came to me saying you wanted to speak to me, Reikage-sama, replied the girl. Huh, what are you talking about, Yujito? Samui has been here helping me for hours, replied Reikage. Yeah, Yujito, have you finally lost it yet? Joked the other blonde known as Samui. Realization dawned on Yujito as she exited even faster than she entered. What in the world was that about? Questioned Reikage, confused. No clue, but that's Yujito for you, replied Samui as she started handing Reikage more papers to stamp. Curse him. I can't believe I fell for that. The sly idiot is probably rolling on the ground laughing at me now. I'm definitely going to kill him, thought the pissed off Yujito as she picked back up on her search for Naruto. A few miles away in some random village. Hey Jiraiya-kun, are you there? You-who? Asked the courtesan on the said man's lap, waving her hand in his face. Jiraiya stared out the window. I sense that the Gaki is in grave danger and not from any normal enemy. Jiraiya smirked knowingly, then looked back to the girl in front of him. That's right, I'm on a mission, he giggled the pervert. I hope she doesn't come here first when she realizes she's been duped, thought Naruto, as he found his way back to the ramen bar and entered. Welcome to Dash. Oh, you're that Leaf kid, said Kenichi, recognizing the blonde as he turned from cleaning his kitchen. Sorry about running off like that, old man. I was just in a scary situation, he said, the blonde scratching the back of his head. Ah, survived old Yujito, did ye? Chuckled Kenichi, looking at Naruto as he cleaned some bowls with a towel. So that's that cat girl's name? I'll make sure to stay clear of it, laughed Naruto. By the way, here's the money for the ramen I had, said Naruto, taking out his wallet. Oh, don't worry about it, lad, the ramen's on the house. I haven't seen Yujito that happy for a long while, replied Kenichi, picking up another bowl to clean. Huh? What do you mean happy? She wanted to freaking kill me and you call that happy? Shouted Naruto, confused. Ha! Not going to lie, lad, Yujito would have definitely gave you a good pounding. Laughed Kenichi. I've known her ever since she was a small lass, and I know for a fact that your little argument was the highlight of her day, said Kenichi, getting a little quieter, but continued. Truth behold, too few will give her the time of day in this village. She's unwanted here for reasons that are not mine to say, Kenichi finished sadly. This caused unwanted memories of Naruto's childhood to flash before him, thinking this was all too familiar. Well, thanks for the ramen, old man. I still got to find a place to stay at, so I gotta get going before it gets too late, said Naruto, trying to forget the memories. No, thank you, lad. Take care now, replied Kenichi as Naruto left. Later that day. Damn it, yelled Naruto in his head, I still can't find a decent inn. Where's Ero-Senin when you need him, huh? Is that? He noticed a girl running towards him in the distance through the crowded street. As she got closer, he could see she was young with blonde hair. It's that Yujito girl. I'll apologize, I just hope she doesn't still want to kill me. Yugi-ah, said Naruto as fell to the ground from being shoved by the running girl. That's when Naruto noticed the way she was running. She had her head down, and he could have sworn it looked like she was crying. She ran and she ran. Why, she continued running, then sprinted up one of the taller buildings. Why, she then jumped onto the roof and collapsed on her knees. God, why, she proceeded to bawl her eyes out. But then who wouldn't after the mission she just received? Naruto still sat there, eyes fixated on the path Yujito had taken moments ago. All of this was too familiar with him. Could she be a? Naruto left the question hanging in his mind as he finally took away his gaze to look at the direction she came from, seeing the Reikage Tower. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. He then got up and made his way towards the tower. Halt. Unless you have proper authorization, you're not allowed to enter the Reikage Tower, stated one of the shinobi guards positioned at the front entrance. I need to ask Reikage something important, please let me pass, Naruto asked hopefully. The guard gave Naruto a bored look before replying again, look kid, as I already said, UN. It's about Yujito. I just saw her running from here and wanted to know why she was crying, interrupted Naruto, getting desperate. The guard's expression grew angry at what Naruto had said. Listen, leave kid, that thing is none of your business, now leave before I arrest you. Just then 2 middle-aged men exited out the front door of the tower. No need to be talking about that filth anymore, one of the men said, who then looked over towards Naruto. Oh, a little leaf ninja, I thought I heard something of the sort being discussed at one point. Well, anyways, why don't you run along to the playground? Your buffoon of a babysitter should return in just a few days, said the same man, who seemed to be enjoying belittling the boy in front of him. Bastard. I can't even do anything in this situation, Naruto growled and walked away from the group. That arrogant way of talking, they must be a part of the Cloud Council, thought Naruto, matching up the similarities of that man and those he's seen in the civilian council back in the Leaf. I wonder what that kid's deal was, questioned the other council member as they walked through the village. Isn't it obvious? He's with the great Jiraiya, the other joked. They have that burning will of fire to feel pity for every little thing. That's why they were able to put themselves in the position to be ambushed by the sand and the sound. Haha, isn't that the truth? The other replied as more of a statement than a fact. However, the two failed to notice that although Naruto walked away, what they saw walk away was a Kage Bunshin. Damn these bastards, I wish I could teach them a lesson, thought Naruto as he continued to trail them. They eventually stopped at a tea shop. Naruto was able to henge and enter the shop and sat down at the other end of the shop. Naruto then focused a little chakra to his ears so he could listen in on the two assholes. I still can't get over how ingenious our plan was. Yeah, it's been a long haul and many failed attempts to finally kill her off. This got Naruto's attention. Yeah, I doubt that Akatsuki will have any trouble finishing her off. What? Then I was right, she has to be a Jinchuriki. Naruto screamed in his head. So what is it? 10 million for each of us? Yeah, Kakuza promised 20 million total if we were able to get the demon out in the open for them. Not that I'm complaining, but I didn't think they would need this kind of help. They usually wouldn't, but that Jiraiya was in the area and was close to finding out where one of the Akatsuki bases was located that was needed for whatever they want with Yujito. So that's why we had to convince Reikage to invite him here, to send him off on a wild goose chase with a hideout that doesn't exist, at least not in the direction where he's looking. Yup, and while Jiraiya is out of the picture, we can hand over Yujito safely over to Akatsuki, freeing the village of the demon and getting filthy rich, haha. Fucking bastards, thought Naruto as his mind was racing, still hiding as a henge across the room. It seems there is someone you want dead, Kit, said Kyubi. Did you hear any of this crap? Asked Naruto. Yes, I did. Rest assured to know that if I wasn't in prison these two would have been long dead, replied the demon lord. They said they needed to convince the Reikage. They wouldn't have to if he was on their side, so hopefully he'll be able to do something about this, thought Naruto as he got up and left before sprinting back towards the Reikage tower. As Naruto got closer to the tower, he noticed that another girl exited, then recognizing that it was the girl he spotted earlier that he used to henge into to fool Yujito. Excuse me? Samui? Asked Naruto, remembering that Yujito had called him by that name earlier. Huh, what is it? Oh, you must be the boy who came here with Jiraiya-sama, replied Samui, turning around to face Naruto. I need your help, I need to speak with Reikage, half yelled Naruto. What for? You know we can't just have any ninja from another village waltz up to the Reikage, said Samui. It's an emergency though. It's about Yujito, pleaded Naruto, hoping the girl in front of her wasn't one of the many in the village who looked down on the girl. Samui's eyes widened for a second at the boy's words. Something about Yujito? I didn't expect that. The kid seems sincere though, and if this is about Yujito it might very well be important, thought Samui. Alright, I'll take you to Reikage, this way, she said as they both arrived and entered into the Reikage tower. As the two entered, Naruto noticed the office was similar to the Hokage's back home with hardly any difference. He then noticed who was clearly the Reikage. He looked like a pretty strong older man with a goatee and some weird mustache. Samui, what is it now? Asked the Reikage tiredly. This boy was desperate to speak with you, Reikage-sama. It's something about Yujito, said Samui as Naruto took a step forward. Remembering that he's not in Konoha, he kept his manners and bowed. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I came here with Jiraiya and have some dire information on Yujito, said Naruto as he looked back up at the Reikage. There always seems to be problems in the village with Yujito. Speak quickly, it's late, responded Reikage. I overheard some of your council members talking at a tea shop about sending Yujito off on a suicide mission where she would be ambushed by Akatsuki. They said they made a deal with one of them named Kakuzu that if they managed to get Jiraiya away from the area and Yujito out of the village, that they would be paid a lot of money. Someone has to save her, explained Naruto pleadingly, not wanting a fellow Jinchuriki to fall to Akatsuki. The Reikage was angered by this and was the first to respond. Damn it, I know something was going to happen sooner or later. The council has been trying to get rid of her for years but have failed, said the Reikage, now looking at his desk. Almost the entire village despises Yujito for what she holds. Even her fellow shinobi refuse to team up with her, so she can only do solo missions, but even though they don't want her, she is still a very talented ninja and has been able to survive and complete all the attempted suicide missions the council has put her on, continued the Reikage sadly. But you're the Reikage. Can't you control what mission she goes on? Like call off the one that was just given to her? Asked Naruto desperately. After hearing what Reikage said, he realized that Yujito has had it way worse than he did. She didn't even have a team, for crying out loud. I can only dictate missions I give out. The council also can by law hand out mandatory missions if 75% or more of the council vote in favor. I'm afraid we can do nothing for poor Yujito, finished the Reikage quietly, as if he were about to cry. I always tried to help Yujito, but the village just won't accept her. I've failed her, mourned Reikage. Screw this, shouted Naruto. The laws in the cloud may prevent any of your ninjas from interfering in a council-given mission, but they can't stop me from helping her since I'm a leaf ninja. The Reikage looked at Naruto shocked. This boy, what he says is true, but would he really risk that much for someone who's from another village? Why? Why would you risk so much for someone from our village? Especially since it seems that you know what she has in her? Asked the shocked Reikage. Naruto looked at the Reikage, then looked at his feet while clenching his fists. I too am a Jinchuriki. Reikage's eyes opened even wider at this. Naruto continued, it was hard, growing up as a container, being hated by everyone. Because of that pain I know how Yujito feels better than anyone, even if I don't know her personally. But I was able to eventually get the people around me to accept me. But she's had it even worse off than me. I was able to make friends. You said nobody even wants to team up with her. Even I can't imagine how hard that must be. Nobody should have to live like that. That's why I'll save her. I promise I'll bring her back. And I never go back on my promises because that's my way of the ninja. Finished Naruto with a determined look. I can't believe such a boy exists, thought Reikage. Thank you, Naruto-sama. Hearing this, Naruto froze. Did the Reikage just say Naruto-sama? Even Samui's eyes were wide open. I don't know how you plan on doing it, he said as he pulled out some documents and began to write on them. But for some reason I can't help but think you can pull off a miracle, he continued as he took out another piece of paper and began writing on it. It's a promise of a lifetime. I'll definitely stop those Akatsuki bastards from taking her, Naruto said, watching the Reikage. The Reikage put the documents he wrote on in an envelope and walked over in front of Naruto, then again did the unthinkable to Naruto. He bowed. I have failed Yujito on more than one occasion, Naruto-sama. Maybe you can do with her what I could not, said the bowing Kage as he handed the envelope to Naruto. Samui looked on confused before realizing what Reikage was doing. Reikage-sama, is that? When you save her, give her that envelope, instructed Reikage. Naruto, still amazed that a Kage from another village had bowed to him and called him Sama, nodded his head and took the envelope, confused though about what Samui meant. Now you must hurry, Naruto. Yujito must have left already and she's fast. It'll be hard to catch up to her, said Reikage, standing up straight. But I don't know which way she's heading, said Naruto, realizing that he never found out exactly where she was being sent by those bastards in the Cloud Council. Follow the road south. The mission was for her to deal with a group of thugs in the town the road leads to. But I guarantee Yujito knows that the council would not give her such an easy mission and that it's in fact an attempt on her life, explained Reikage. He had read over the mission details just minutes before Naruto and Samui arrived. Alright, thanks for everything, Reikage-sama, said Naruto as he ran out of the room to go and track down his fellow Jinchuriki. Samui looked at the door Naruto left through. He sure is an odd kid, she said. Yes, he is, replied Reikage as he sat back down behind his desk. Jiraiya did speak highly of the boy, I can see why now. I hope he can really save her, I just don't see how though, Samui said sadly. Samui, this may seem irresponsible of me since I'm the Reikage, but have faith in the boy, he replied with a smile. Samui looked out the window at the night sky over the village. I hope Reikage's right, Naruto. Calm down, kitten, we'll make it through just like we always have, said the two-tailed cat, Nikomata, to her host, who at the moment was very broken. How can I calm down? The council hasn't given me one of these missions for months. They must have been planning this one for a while. It's not going to be like the others, replied Yujito as she raced through the trees towards her objective. If what you say is true, kitten, then it proves my point even more and that you should calm down. You're going to need to be in top form for this, Coach Nikomata. The council thinks I don't know what's going to come after me here, but I do know it, and I don't have much hope, continued Yujito, still crying as she ran. Kitten, the Akatsuki are strong, but we will face them together, and we will win. Also, have you thought about defecting? You wouldn't even have to face the Akatsuki yet then, asked Nikomata. I can't defect, the council sends me on these missions because even though they all hate me, they can't outright kill me. But if I defect, that would give them the golden opportunity to send every available hunter nin after my head, and that would be even worse than the Akatsuki, explained Yujito sadly. I'm sorry that you have had to live like this, kitten. It's not your fault, it's the people who can't see me for me. You've always helped me, Nico-chan, I could never blame you. I just wish there were more people like Kenichi and Reikage who would have just given me a chance. I'm sure there's some people out there who are like that, you just haven, kitten, look out. Yujito barely dodged some sort of projectile from her side. Wow, this Jinchuriki sure has some quick reflexes, said a man with slicked back silver hair and a large three-bladed scythe in his hand. Yujito watched as the thing, or hand as she now sees it, that was launched at her return to its master, some weird-looking man with a mask covering most of his face. She then quickly noted the cloaks. Akatsuki, Yujito mumbled angrily, gaining the attention of the two. Wow, she even knows who we are. This one's pretty smart too, Akakuzu? Said the man with the scythe. Haiden, I'll take care of this one. I don't want to be sitting here all day because of your stupid rituals, said the Akatsuki Yujito now knew as Kakuzu. Fuck you, Kakuzu. You know I don't like it either, but my religion requires it, barked Haiden back at his partner. You can spend this time praying so maybe you won't have to do them on the next one. Like I said, this Jinchuriki is mine, said Kakuzu as he took a few steps forward, getting ready for the confrontation. Yeah, whatever, atheist prick, mumbled Haiden. Well, this is it. I hope you are right, Nico-chan, said Yujito to her demon as she got into a fighting position. Remember, we are in this together, kitten. Understanding what Nibi meant, Yujito got down on all fours as the familiar feeling of the demonic chakra began to grow around her. Within seconds she was engulfed by the blue fiery-like chakra in the form of the Nikomata. Wow, this Jinchuriki showed its powers soon. Guess it wants to go all out with you, Kakuzu. Sure you don't want me to handle it, joked Haiden. Shut up, Haiden. This needs to be finished quickly in case Jiraiya is close enough to spot the fight, replied Kakuzu, hardening his skin as the cat slammed a fiery paw down on the Akatsuki bounty hunter. Somewhere between the fight and the hidden cloud. Furball, do you have any idea which Biju Yujito has within her? Well, you said she looked like a cat. Seems that the containers take on some physical characteristics of the demon they hold. Like Gaara had those raccoon-like eyes, you have the whiskers like a fox. So if she did look like a cat, then I would say it has to be the two-tailed cat, Nikomata. Nikomata, huh? Do you know this one? We were friends. Yeah, we were friends, you could say. I guess all the more reason to save her, right? Yeah, and kid, I can feel her chakra and it's starting to fade. Damn it, I have to hurry. Naruto tried his hardest to move even faster. He silently hoped that Erosenin would be in the area to help him in case he ran into the pair of Itachi and Kisame, knowing how hopeless a fight between him and the Genjutsu user would be. He also wondered what the Toad Sage would do or say if he knew his student was about to engage Akatsuki by his lonesome. The pervert specifically arranged for him to stay in the cloud to keep him as far away from the organization as possible. Erosenin is going to kill me, that's if I don't get killed by them first. He then began to wonder if it would be in fact better to fight an Akatsuki other than Itachi and Kisame. At least with those two he knew what they could do. From what he knew of the organization, traditional ninjas who threw some kunai here and used some taijutsu there didn't exist. Even though how suicidal it would be versus Itachi, it may be even more so versus another member who could do anything for all he knew. Good thing I have Kage Bunshin's head pretty quickly into Naruto's trip with Jiraiya. He had realized the valuable use of the clones in terms of training and scouting out an opponent's fighting style. Feels like I'm going to need to use everything I've learned plus a miracle, he thought. He began to feel the demonic chakra in the distance fading fast until it disappeared. Shit! I have to make it! Naruto struggled to move his legs even faster. He had to save her no matter what, to hell with whatever asshole Akatsuki member was fighting her. He made a promise, and he's definitely not going to break it. At least I finished that jutsu. He allowed a slight smirk to grace his face. Back at the battle scene. You know, Kakuzu, I don't think you're that much faster than me, said Haiden as he walked up to the slightly panting teammate of his. Kakuzu, however, ignored Haiden. The girl was stronger than he expected. Many of his jutsu were ineffective against the Jinchuriki's fiery coat of demonic chakra. She was also able to destroy 2 of Kakuzu's hearts during the battle. Yujito was sprawled out on the ground, barely conscious. Her body was bruised all over with a handful of broken bones and had depleted all of her chakra, not to mention to blood covering her. She began to helplessly cry again. For a few minutes at the start of the fight she had hope. She was foolish enough to even think that this man wasn't that tough. She had killed him twice. Twice she had watched him drop to the ground lifelessly only to rise again for another assault. It seems the hidden cloud had gotten its wish. The demon was going to die. Flashback. It ends tonight. Get the demon! Shouted a man, followed by a bunch of cheers as they chased a 4-year-old Yujito through the village. Yujito was currently running for her life alongside her mother, who was screaming at the mob to leave her daughter alone, and that she's not the demon. Just anything in hopes to deter them. However, the mob was quickly gaining on them as they contained shinobi in their ranks, and Yujito and her mom were just normal civilians. As she tried to run faster in fear, Yujito lost her footing and took a fall to the ground. For a second the horrified child could only see flashes of what was going on around her. She heard her mother's screams, she heard the many cheers of the mob as they closed in on the fallen girl. She then saw a man step forward with a katana in his hand, uttering the words the entire mob couldn't wait to hear the whole night. Your pathetic life is over, demon! Shouted the ninja as he jabbed the blade forward. Yujito had closed her eyes, but the strike never came as she heard a few angry comments, and a few shocked ones coming from the murderous mob. She then opened up her small eyes, widening them instantly. No! Mama! Shouted Yujito as she saw that her mother was lying on top of her, pierced by the blade. Don't be scared, Yugi, you're a strong girl. I'm sorry that I couldn't stop this. I love you, Yugi. Continue to be that strong girl. I know. Someday I'm sure the village will accept you. I know you'll show them how wonderful you are, said her mother, as she finally lost the battle and succumbed to darkness. The Raikage then arrived, disbanded the mob, and retrieved Yujito, and from then on tried to protect her as best as he could. End flashback. I'm sorry, Mama. I wasn't able to change anything, Yujito cried. At least I was able to meet Raikage, Kenichi, and that guy, she thought, remembering the encounter a few days ago with the blonde boy who she argued with and accused her of being a cat. That jerk was her last thoughts as she passed out. Hide and carry her, commanded Kakuzu. Fuck that, you carry her! You're the one that wanted to fight her so goddamn bad! Shouted Haiden. I'm seriously going to kill you someday, said Kakuzu as he picked up the unconscious Jinchuriki. Be my guest, Kakuzu. I'd be happy to just finally get it over with. Looks like we got company, stated Kakuzu, ignoring his partner for the millionth time today. Naruto finally arrived, jumping down to ground level on the battlefield as took a look at the scene. So it's two that I don't know, he instantly thought, not recognizing either of the two Akatsuki members. Naruto then noticed what the masked one was carrying. Yujito, growled Naruto. So you know this bitch? You're not even from her village, asked Haiden, eyeing the blonde who just appeared. Haiden, this is Uzumaki Naruto, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, said Kakuzu, recognizing the boy from the description given to him by Itachi. Well, isn't that sweet, trying to protect your fellow Jinchuriki, yeah? But I never thought one would be stupid enough to walk right up to us, said Haiden, causing Naruto's temper to rise. Give her back. Or I'll take her back by force, growled Naruto. Haiden, I'll take the Two-Tails to the cave. I'll leave the Nine-Tails to you. Don't take him lightly, he contains the strongest of the 9. You'll die if you do, informed Kakuzu as he took off towards the mountain that was nearby. TCH, every fucking time that Kakuzu says that. Like I'm worried about you killing me, said Haiden, looking back over towards Naruto. Naruto stood his ground, as he watched Kakuzu leave. He would have to finish of the one in front of him quickly so he doesn't use up too much chakra and can get to the other one before Yujito dies. So here we go. I have no idea what this guy is capable of. I'll have to use Kage Bunshins and make sure I don't make any mistakes. I can't afford to do that against one of these guys. Well, I'd better get this over with. I don't need that damned leader on my back again for taking too long, said Haiden as his grip on his scythe tightened. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu! Shouted Naruto as his personal army appeared and charged at the Akatsuki. Haiden immediately threw his weapon, taking out a handful of the clones, then swiftly jumped out of the way of the others as he also retracted his scythe. That weapon seems to be a big part of his style, it even retracts somehow, Naruto thought, observing the fight. One thing he learned so far during his trip was that he was surprisingly skilled at coming up with strategies. He always rushed into things headfirst before, so he never realized it. But after being scolded by Erosenin, he started to actually think over things a little more, and turned out he was rewarded greatly by the revelation. However, this only applied when fighting to his sensei's annoyance. He's also pretty quick to retreat after his weapon strikes. He mustn't be too skilled at close range, analyzed the blonde as Haiden destroyed more clones and, as Naruto observed, once again retreated. So is this all you're going to use? You'll never get anywhere like this, moron! Shouted Haiden. Right as Haiden threw his scythe again, 6 clones were launched into the air to avoid the throw and were flying towards Haiden. Haiden immediately jumped for an open area. Naruto, however, predicted this by arranging his clones to deliberately leave a clear open area for the Akatsuki member. Naruto quickly went through some seals. Futon Sanyari! Instantly 3 focused wind spears shot out towards where Haiden was landing. Shit, I can't dodge, he thought as he landed and took the hits that pierced through his chest. Did I really get him? Thought Naruto as he began to get excited at the thought of actually taking down an Akatsuki. However, his foe never fell. Fuck, that hurt! Yelled Haiden, recovering his stance. What the hell? I definitely should have hit him in the heart and the lungs. How the fuck is he still alive, let alone standing and breathing? Naruto asked himself as he immediately created more clones so he doesn't get caught off guard by something due to his shock. How can you still be standing? Asked Naruto. Isn't it obvious, asshole? I'm immortal, boasted Haiden as he began his assault on Naruto's clones once again. Damn it, I lost sight of the real one again. This bastard is really immortal. That's freaking possible? It appears so, Kit. He still must have something up his sleeve. There's no way all he can do is throw that ridiculous weapon around, said you know who. Yeah, even with being immortal he's not that special as is. He runs from close combat yet hasn't used any ninjutsu. I doubt he's a genjutsu type either. It looks like there's more to that weapon then, since that's all he's using. He must be waiting for something, Kit. There's weapons that can even steal souls in this world, so it most likely is some jutsu revolving around him hitting his target. Yeah, all he's hitting though are my bunchins and nothing has happened so far. He must need to hit my real body then. Just focus on avoiding the scythe. But to beat him it looks like you're going to have to just rip his head off, Kit. I think I know how to do that as well. I've memorized his style enough that I got a plan. Just don't fuck up, Kit. I promise I won't. So why don't you stop with the clones already and just give up? You can't beat me, shithead! Shouted Haiden. Don't worry, I'm going to end this, retorted Naruto. Naruto then reformed the positions of his clones, making them run around more scattered. He had been purposely leaving spots open so he could sort of control Haiden's position before. Come on, throw that thing this way, bastard, thought Naruto as he had some clones bunch of to bait the loudmouth Akatsuki into taking it. Haiden, naturally trying to take out the most clones he can, unknowingly took the bait, not thinking that they were bunched up on purpose since the rest of the clones were scattering all over the place randomly. He then, just as each time before, jumped away and retracted his scythe. Immediately, 4 clones that were hinged as pebbles grappled the immortal from behind, holding him in place. What the fuck, get off me! Yelled Haiden as he tried to remove the clones but failed. The real Naruto was also hinged as a stone and released it when Haiden retracted his scythe. Naruto leapt at the returning blade, grabbing it as he and the weapon came flying towards the owner. What the hell are you doing? Screamed Haiden as he again failed at removing the clones holding him down. The real Naruto smirked as he got within range and used Haiden's own weapon to cleave his head off. Naruto looking at the rolling head of Haiden and dropped the blade. God damn it! Fuck you, asshole! You can't fucking kill me! Hayden screamed along with many other random slurs. I may not be able to kill you, but I can do this! Naruto shouted as he punted Hayden's head across the clearing into the forest. Congratulations, kid, you defeated your first Akatsuki all by yourself. I still have one more to take down. Just one more, Naruto whispered as he darted off towards the mountains. Kakuzu headed in search of whatever cave he was talking about. Inside the cave, 8 silhouettes gathered on the fingers of Geto Maza while a certain blonde lay unconscious in front of the ceiling statue. Okay, the preparation have been made, let's begin the extraction, said one of the Akatsuki silhouettes with spiky hair and ringed eyes as the 8 made the hand seals to begin. Wait, don't start yet, said another silhouette that was oddly shaped. What is it, Setsu? Asked the leader looking over at Setsu. It's Hayden. It seems the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki has defeated him and is closing in on Kakuzu, and the Two Tails explained, the spy of Akatsuki. Hayden was defeated by that kid? Would have liked to see how that happened, said another member with a large sword strapped to his back known as Kisame. Alright, since no barrier was placed at the entrance, we will resume this afterwards. Kakuzu, don't underestimate him, said the leader as he released the jutsu, causing everyone including Geto Maza to vanish besides Kakuzu and Yujito. I warned that moron, mumbled Kakuzu as he waited for Naruto's arrival. Outside, Naruto was approaching. That must be the cave, this better work, thought the Jinchuriki as he got near the cave. He had quickly tried to come up with a strategy to face the second Akatsuki member. Naruto knew that he got lucky with the type of opponent that Hayden guy was, but he had a feeling that it wasn't going to be the same with this one. He needed to finish it quick, knowing that a lengthy battle with an Akatsuki can turn deadly. He'll have to resort to some of his tricks. It's times like these when I'm glad that I received some of your traits, furball. Just focus on what's ahead, kid. This guy will definitely be the most skilled shinobi you have ever fought by yourself. I know, but I'll use that to my advantage. Even though I took out his partner, I bet he still is going to underestimate me even for just a little bit. Which is going to have to be enough to beat him, or I'm done for. Kakuzu watched as the whiskered Jinchuriki appeared at the entrance to the cave. Hayden is a moron, but there's no way that even he would lose to a kid like this without this kid having something up his sleeve. But from the reports by Kisame and Itachi, he was pretty weak not too long ago. He couldn't have improved enough to dominate Hayden. So, he must have gotten beat by doing what he always does, talking too much and not paying attention. Naruto stood at the entrance looking inside. He immediately noted the Akatsuki watching him and the still unconscious Yujito laying a few feet away from him. I would normally say let her go, but that doesn't work with you guys too well, said Naruto angrily as he narrowed his eyes at the masked man. You may have been able to somehow defeat my idiot of a partner, but you should have counted your blessings and fled. 2 miracles won't happen back to back, replied Kakazu as he readied himself. Then maybe today is finally my lucky day, shouted Naruto as dozens of Kage Bunshins appeared from outside the cave and charged Kakuzu. Taju Kage Bunshin? I see, so this is why he was able to give Hayden trouble. No matter, thought Kakuzu as he switched to his mid-range style as 2 strange A and B-like masks emerged from his back and rested on his shoulders. What the hell did he do? Thought Naruto as his clones converged on Kakuzu. Futon Atsugai, came Kakuzu's voice as a huge blast of wind shot out of the mouth of one of the masks on his shoulders, destroying half of Naruto's clones. Holy shit, thought Naruto, shocked after watching such a high-level jutsu used against him. Kid, this guy is really strong, and judging by what he looks like, that other mask can probably do something just as lethal. Yeah, I was right, this is definitely not an opponent that I want to fight too long with, thought Naruto as he created more clones. Alright, time to do this. He then created a Rasengan and charged with his clone army. Right-on, John! Voiced Kakuzu as the second mask shot a large forked bolt of lightning, again destroying Naruto's army. But this time two were able to jump over the others and were descending down on Kakuzu, the Rasengan one included. That's not going to work, kid, thought Kakuzu as he extended his arms, firing his hands towards the 2 Narutos, destroying them, signifying they were Bunshins. A third Naruto appeared behind them with another Rasengan. Kakuzu was forced to take a leap back as Naruto's jutsu was slammed into the ground, leaving a small crater. The Jinchuriki must want to end this quickly, judging by the way he's attacking. He knows he won't last long. That jutsu of his must be the finisher. I'll switch to long range just to make sure he doesn't get the chance to use it, thought Kakuzu as the muscle-like threads flooded out of his body, causing him to look something like an octopus. Looks like he's taking the bait, kid. Finish him. Right, responded Naruto as he again created more clones, having one make another Rasengan. Is he really going to try the same thing, or is there something else? thought Kakuzu, wondering if Naruto was serious or not. Again the clones charged. Kakuzu refrained from using his elemental jutsu so he could concentrate more on the one with the Rasengan. Alright, there's the first one, now where's the second? Just then Kakuzu spotted the second Naruto quickly approaching him from his side and jumped in the air. Now that both are in front of me, I don't have to worry. What? Kakuzu noticed one was behind him but was too far out of close combat. Kakuzu then noticed what Naruto had in his hand. What jutsu is that? He thought as his gaze fell to Naruto's hand. It looks like a variation of the one he's been using, so I should be safe at this ran dash. Damn dash! To Kakuzu's utter shock, Naruto threw the spinning jutsu, bringing Kakuzu to the realization that he could not dodge it in time while in the air. Futon, Raisen Shuriken! Shouted Naruto, throwing the jutsu at the Akatsuki, knowing he couldn't dodge in midair. The jutsu hit right on target as it expanded and ignited in a large blast on impact. Please tell me I got him, thought Naruto as he landed and was breathing heavily. When the dust settled, Kakuzu was sprawled out on the floor, appearing lifeless. I can't believe I lost to a runt like you, destroying 3 hearts with one jutsu. So that was how you killed Haiden, murmured Kakuzu, unable to move. Naruto released a breath, relaxing slightly that the Akatsuki wasn't jumping up and attacking somehow. No, that wasn't how I beat your partner. I can't use that jutsu more than once in a fight yet. Honestly, I got lucky with Haiden, but I gambled everything on that last attack, so I guess 2 miracles did happen today, Naruto explained, smirking at the last bit, looking down at his defeated foe. D-damned kid, mumbled Kakuzu as the immortal finally died. I did it, whispered Naruto, letting the realization of defeating 2 Akatsuki back-to-back by himself sink in. Naruto then looked over his shoulder at the other person on the floor. Yujito. He then walked over to her and checked her. She was still alive but unconscious. It also seemed that the Nibi was starting to heal her injuries. Well, we can't stay here much longer. This is an Akatsuki hideout or something, and for all I know another 2 could be close by. I'd better get myself and Yujito out of here quickly, thought Naruto, picking up the girl and exiting the cave. Where do you plan on going with her, Kit? Anywhere away from here and the cloud. I would like to take her out of the entire country if I can, with the way she was treated, because I don't doubt that village sending a hit out on her if they find out she's still alive, responded Naruto, running, trying to put as much distance between himself and the cave as he can. Then take her out of the country, Kit. Yeah, I guess I'll do that. Well, river country, here I come, replied Naruto as he turned southwest to leave the lightning country. So what are you going to do about that sensei of yours? Ero Sennin? No clue. When he finds out what I did, he's going to have a heart attack. But I can't go to the Cloud Village for obvious reasons. I'll just have to hope I bump into him at some point. Back at the Cloud. Well, I turned up empty-handed. That information must have been bad. I wonder how the Gaki is holding up here, pondered the Sannin as he was led into the Reikage Tower. Samui heard who was coming up and walked over to her leader to inform him. Reikage-sama, Jiraiya is here, she said nervously. Reikage choked on his tea. This was not something he was looking forward to. Tell him to come in. A moment later the Sannin entered and walked up to the Reikage's desk. Reikage-sama, Jiraiya bowed. I couldn't fin. I know, Jiraiya-sama, interrupted Reikage, putting his hand up. Jiraiya looked at him questioningly with a raised eyebrow, expecting the Kage to elaborate. You see, after you left, I discovered that my council purposefully had given me wrong information to lead you away. I'm still trying to figure out which ones it was, explained Reikage, sipping his tea, knowing of what was to come in this conversation. Why would your council lie to you about something like this? Asked Jiraiya, confused about the situation. Also a little agitated that he had traveled around like a fool for nothing. The reason why would be that 2 of the council members were paid off by Akatsuki themselves and needed to get you off their track for a few days since you were close to discovering one of their locations, further explained Reikage. At the mention of Akatsuki paying them off, Jiraiya immediately deadpanned. Why would Akatsuki pay them off to get him off their track for these last few days? The only thing that went off like an alarm in the Sannin's head was Naruto. Not quite, responded the Reikage. Here it is. Not quite? Questioned Jiraiya sternly. This false information thing may be possibly turning out to be the worst thing he could imagine at the moment. We have our own container, that the village hated immensely, including the council, which was why they were so keen on working with Akatsuki to finally remove the Jinchuriki from the village, informed Reikage, trying to prolong the information about Naruto for as long as possible. Jiraiya relaxed at this slightly, since it wasn't Naruto they were after, but still felt bad for the Cloud Jinchuriki. So I assume they got your Jinchuriki? I don't know, answered Reikage nervously. Huh? And you see, the person who figured out that the Akatsuki had paid my counsel off to get you away and to get our Jinchuriki out of the village was your student Naruto, said Reikage. Will I regret what I did? Jiraiya widened his eyes, knowing his student all too well. No. He came to me first, he tried to get us to help our container, but as you know, even though I am the Reikage, not even I can interfere with a mandatory council-issued mission. He didn't, whispered Jiraiya. Because he doesn't fall under our laws being a leaf ninja, he did. That's why I don't know whether they got our container or not. However, at this moment in time it's too late. This transpired a few days ago. Jiraiya tried to snap out of his shock. Where were they heading? Follow the road south. She was supposed to do a mission in the first town you run into. However, I don't know whether or not she was intercepted beforehand. Shit! 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 Repeated Jiraiya in his head as he took off without even saying goodbye to the Reikage. That compassionate baka. Doesn't he realize what happens if he gets caught? What did he think he was going to do when he caught up to the Cloud Jinchuriki? Jiraiya made outside of the village and ran as fast as his legs could take him. I hope I can still make it in time to do something. In River Country. Naruto had arrived in the capital of the River Country in less than a day of running non-stop, with the help of Kyuubi though, of course. Naruto got a few stares as he walked through the town with the blonde girl passed out on his back. She had not woken yet, but that's to be expected after the ordeal she went through the last couple days. As he proceeded through the town, he finally spotted what he was looking for, the hospital. As he entered, he quickly let the nurses know that the girl was unconscious but lied, saying that he found her like this out in the woods. They accepted his story and took her into a room to treat her while Naruto sat in the waiting room. Sometime later they informed him that she had some bruises and broken bones that were healing already, and she was also dehydrated. But she should be fine in no time since they said she was indeed healing at an incredible rate. Naruto snickered at that. Yeah, I noticed she was healing quick, but I'd say you heal me way faster, furball. No shit, kid, I'm the strongest of the Biju. Naruto chuckled at the fox as he walked outside. It was starting to get late in the day, and he needs to find an inn to crash at till Yujito wakes up. Naruto opted for the one he and Jiraiya had stayed at before they entered Lightning Country. After getting a bite to eat and washing up, Naruto decided to hop up on the roof. He always liked thinking under the night sky. I suppose I'm starting to get pretty strong, he thought as he lied down on his back with his arms behind his head. I actually managed to take out 2 Akatsuki, as reckless as it was. It was definitely without a doubt worth it, though. He turned his head towards the hospital a few blocks down. I managed to save her too, he thought with a smile. Have you come up with any plans yet? Don't know, I'm not sure where I should go from here. I don't know exactly how Yujito is going to react. She may want to go back to the Cloud Village. I hope she doesn't though. Want to get closer to the Kade? She is a very pretty container. No. I mean, it would be nice to get to know her since she's like me. Yeah, whatever, Kit. Remember, I could tell how much you enjoyed carrying her here. Shut up, furball. Anyways, a topic that I can actually plan out is what to train in next since I completed Raisen Shuriken. Maybe increase your wind jutsu arsenal? Yeah, while I was actually working on Raisen Shuriken, I had an idea for a new jutsu. I'll work on that then. Naruto then jumped up and off the roof. Kit, where are you going? To train, duh, replied Naruto as he ran through the town towards a wooden area. Kid, it's late, just get some rest already. Heh, no can do, furball. I just took out 2 Akatsuki. I also have a second host with me. They are going to want blood and we're the biggest target, considering they probably know Erosenin isn't with me and that they would gain 2 of us instead of going after single ones. I can't just sit around and wait. Whatever, just don't go overboard. You could have the most powerful jutsu in the world, but if you're too tired to use it when the time comes, it's useless. Remember that, Kit. Yeah, now time to cook up a new jutsu, cheered Naruto, arriving at a viable training area outside the town. Tajukage Bunshin no Jutsu. The clones spread out knowingly. Yash! Alright everyone, close your fists and work on rotating wind chakra at the front of them, ordered Naruto as he too began practicing. I can't keep acting like a kid now. Erosenin isn't here to bail me out, and I got someone important to protect on my own now. And so was the start of Naruto's new training. Was I too late? Whispered Jiraiya to himself as he had found the cave Akatsuki had attempted to extract the Nibi in. He had first found the area of destruction in the forest where the Nibi had fought against Kakuzu, but other than realizing it was a battlefield, it left him with no evidence of either side winning or losing. As he walked deeper into the cave, he came to an open room. Here too, he took note of the couple man-made craters around, indicating that a battle was fought here as well, but again with no traces of the outcome. Damn, there's nothing here, this is not good, I'll have to check back in the cloud to see if they got anything new, if not Tsunade's going to kill me. At the hospital. Inside the hospital, a certain blonde was finally waking up. Yujito slowly opened her eyes, silently cursing the bright light. She slowly sat up and took a look around. Huh! Where am I? Suddenly it dawned on her. How am I alive? Is this an Akatsuki base? How long was I out for? So many questions Yujito had, but with no answers. She was certain she should be dead right now. She was defeated completely at the hands of those two Akatsuki, and there's no way the village did something to help her out. Heck, they were the ones to send her right into the hands of the bastard organization. But then where am I? She knew obviously that she was in some sort of hospital, but the Cloud Village was ruled out, so it could only be in another village or an Akatsuki base. She then noticed that she had overlooked the window next to her bed. She took a look out in hopes of recognizing something. She watched as people went about their daily activities. So I'm not in the cloud, and this looks to be too happy and laid back to be anything having to do with Akatsuki. Just then the door opened to reveal a nurse. Oh good, you're awake. How are you feeling? Questioned the nurse as she picked up the clipboard by Yujito's bed. I'm fine, definitely not the village, she thought to herself. Hospital trips back at her home, if that's what it was, never were as pleasant as the way this nurse was acting towards her. That's good, Yujito-san, you heal remarkably fast. When you first came in you were a wreck, deep cuts and bruises everywhere, but now you look almost as good as new, said the nurse, smiling kindly at the girl. When did I get here and where is here? Asked Yujito. Oh, you were brought in by a nice young man who found you injured in the woods about 3 days ago. As for your second question, you're in the capital city of River Country, Naruto, responded the nurse. So I'm not even in Lightning Country. How in the hell did I wind up all the way here? Some boy found me in the woods? I don't believe that for a second. Akatsuki wouldn't have just left me there. Hell, even if they did, that was miles outside of the cloud, nowhere near where a local of River Country would spot me and decide this is the closest place for treatment. Yujito-san? Are you alright? Asked the nurse, watching Yujito space out. Sorry, yes, I'm fine, she replied, turned back to the nurse. Okay, well, you seem to somehow have fully recovered, so you can leave whenever you want, smiled the nurse. Do you know if the guy who found me is still around? Asked Yujito. She had too many questions to ask this person. Did he find her here or back where she passed out? Did he actually save her from the two Akatsuki? Did he save her knowing what she was? He's been stopping in periodically since you arrived. You can wait here for him if you want. Okay, thanks, responded Yujito. Sitting around waiting in the hospital wasn't exactly what she wanted to do, but she had to confront whoever this person was. Naruto was currently walking towards the hospital. For the last few days he's routinely checked on her when he took breaks from training, which seemed to be about all he's been doing. Kit, your new jutsu is getting there, just a little more training. Those shadow clones sure do make a difference. Yeah, I'll probably be moving around a lot soon because of Akatsuki. So using them like this is really going to save me. Well, here's the hospital. Naruto then entered. The nurses in the front recognized him instantly since he has been coming around. Good afternoon, Naruto-san. You'll be happy to know that Yujito-san is awake. She's been waiting for you. She's free to leave, informed one of the nurses. Really? Naruto exclaimed, getting excited, then ran to the room she was being kept in. As Naruto walked up to the door, he remembered something. I hope she still doesn't want me dead. Naruto had forgotten about their run-in back in the cloud with everything going on recently. Oh well, he thought as he opened the door and stepped in. Yujito immediately raised her head, hearing the door open. She had been waiting for about 2 hours and was rather bored. But she was shocked when she saw who it was. You're that jerk from the ramen bar, she shouted, pointing at Naruto. Naruto scratched the back of his head sheepishly. He had to be careful here. Hee, sorry about that, I did return to pay though, joked Naruto, even though he didn't actually have to pay. Yujito growled at him, then realized that she had forgotten that this must be who found her. Trying to ignore the growling, Naruto spoke again. The nurse said you're free to leave. I would think you would want to talk, so why don't we go somewhere else, said Naruto, giving her a knowing look. Yujito nodded her head and got up, following Naruto as he turned to leave. Yujito looked around as they walked through the village. She now remembered this place since she stopped here a few times during missions. She then looked over to the other blonde next to her. She was dying to know what transpired with the Akatsuki. There's no way that he could have stopped the two. He was around her age, maybe a little younger. But she had the powers of the Nibi at her disposal. No way could he have done anything. They arrived to a small clearing outside the village. Yujito watched as Naruto took a seat on the grass and motioned for her to join him, which she complied. Okay, so before we start, I think introductions would help. We didn't really get off to a good start back in the cloud. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, joked Naruto as he held out his hand, also noticing the girl flinch at the mention of the hidden village. Ni Yujito, I guess I'm sorry for chasing you, responded Yujito, cautiously shaking his hand. You probably have a lot of questions, so you can start first, said Naruto. He knew this might take a while but was still happy about the prospect of getting to know another host. He was right, she did have a lot of questions, so she wanted to start with the ones that really confused her. The nurse said that you found me in the woods. That's not what really happened though, right? She kept her gaze on him, trying to gauge the boy. No, it wasn't. I originally found you as you were being carried off by Kakuza, answered Naruto. A shiver went down Yujito's back as Naruto said that name. But that would mean no, it couldn't be, she thought. Then how did you get me back, or was it even you? I fought against Kakuzu's partner, Haiden, and defeated him. Then I tracked Kakuzu down to a nearby cave and defeated him as well. I then grabbed you and brought you here, explained Naruto. What? There's no way you could have defeated them. Yujito had thought this was impossible. I did. I'll admit I was lucky against Haiden and retained some of that luck when I fought Kakuzu. There's just no way, whispered Yujito. She couldn't grasp this information at all. Why were you even there? I heard some of the council members in the cloud talking about being paid off to get you out of the village, answered Naruto, aware that this is a sore topic for the girl in front of him. Yujito looked down. I knew that much. It still hurts to know that they would go that far to get rid of me. Naruto continued. After I heard that, I immediately went to Reikage and told him. He was very upset but said it was against cloud law for him to interfere with your mission, but as you can see, I'm not a cloud ninja, so I don't have to follow your laws, explained Naruto. Yujito looked back up at him. She knew she would start crying again soon. So you just like that she came after me? Yujito stared at him, hoping, could she have met such a person? No one has risked their lives for her sake besides her mother. Yup. Originally I saw you crying while leaving the Reikage Tower, then after I heard that the council wanted to get rid of you, I had to help. Yujito's eyes widened. This guy had gone up against and defeated such strong ninjas that he himself said was lucky to beat all for her, who was from another village, let alone chased him just days before. Then she realized why. Of course, he doesn't know about what I am. He wouldn't be doing this if he did. Naruto interrupted her thoughts though. I almost forgot. Reikage gave me this to give to you, said Naruto as he pulled out the envelope and handed it over to Yujito. Yujito took the envelope and opened it. She pulled out the first piece of paper, realizing that it was a letter to her. She began reading. Dear Yujito, if you are reading this, then I couldn't be more happy, for the boy in front of you was able to save you. I want to apologize for not being able to stop all the horrible things from happening in your life. No matter how I tried, I could never sway the council into passing laws to protect you like I wanted. You were always something of a daughter to me. Again, I am truly sorry for not living up to that. The second document in this letter is a release from the village. I wish you could stay, but the village doesn't deserve a girl as strong and kind as you. I want you to live a normal life, one that doesn't involve being hated by those you protect. Furthermore, if you wonder what you should do, I'm pretty sure the boy who gave this to you would truly welcome you to his village. Don't be afraid, Yujito. If he hasn't told you yet, that is, you and he have more in common than you realize. Goodbye, and I hope we meet again someday. Reikage. Yujito couldn't believe what she was reading. A small part of her was hurt since she would miss Reikage and Kenichi, but the rest of her was shaking from excitement at the thought of getting away from all those hateful glares and people who caused her mother's death. But what did Reikage mean about Naruto? Naruto noticed she was done, but she was completely spaced out. Naruto gently put a hand on her shoulder. Yujito, are you okay? Wasn't anything bad, right? Yujito shivered from the touch. She was not used to comforting contact, that was for sure. But she looked up at Naruto, a bit confused about what to say to him. Hey Yujito, you're spacing out. Did something bad happen? Questioned Naruto worriedly. Yeah, everything's okay. Our Reikage is releasing me from the cloud so I can stay away from the council, she replied, not telling Naruto the full truth. If she was indeed freed of the village, she didn't want the only person she could talk to at the moment, who also saved her, and is being kind to her, turn on her by the truth. She wanted to keep that a secret. Naruto, however, already knowing she held the Nibi, knew what she meant. You're welcome to join the Leaf if you want, Yujito, he said, smiling at her. He despised the Cloud Village other than Reikage, and he would be damned if he didn't try his hardest to help her. Yujito smiled. I'd like that, Naruto. I just wish I didn't have to hide who I am. As if reading her thoughts, Naruto responded, by the way, Yujito, you don't have to lie to me about it. Yujito looked up at Naruto's smile. Huh? I know why Akatsuki was after you. Yujito's eyes widened in shock. No! Please don't tell me he found out what I am. Naruto watched her. She looked petrified. And to me you're Yujito. You may look like a cat but you're not the Nibby, continued Naruto, giving her a warm smile. HEW what? Please tell me I heard him right, she thought desperately. Not only did this boy save her and give her a chance at a new life, but also accepted her knowing what she had in her. Naruto's smile grew as he noticed her relief and grateful expression. Naruto then got up off the ground and held out his hand for her. You're not the only container in the world, you know, there's 9 of us, said Naruto half-jokingly. For yet another time Yujito's cat-like eyes widened in shock. You us? You mean why you're? She stuttered, leaving the obvious question hanging. I have the 9-tailed fox, QB sealed in me, Naruto answered, picking Yujito up. T the 9 tails. Half-shouted Yujito, he has the strongest one in him. Well, we can finish talking later, right now I'm hungry and I bet you are too. So how about we find ourselves some ramen? Cheered Naruto as he glanced over at his fellow Jinchuriki. Why yeah! She cheered back as they both ran towards the town laughing. I've never felt this relaxed and happy in my life, and it's all thanks to you, Naruto. Did you find anything, Jiraiya-sama? Asked Reikage. The Sannin had just returned from searching for Naruto and Yujito to see if the Cloud Village had found anything out. You haven't found anything out either, I assume by that question, stated Jiraiya. He had searched thoroughly, and couldn't find anything other than that the Jinchuriki had faced off against the Akatsuki. Maybe Naruto did succeed, pondered Reikage. If he did, he most likely is no longer in the Lightning Country. Why's that? Asked Jiraiya. Hopefully this will give him a lead. I sent with him documents allowing our Jinchuriki to leave the village due to the troubles the rest of the village has caused it. Naruto would have delivered this information and they would have fled the country in order to avoid possible Hunter-Nins, since it was technically a mission, so if the council found out, they would immediately mark her as a nuke-nin, explained Reikage. I better get going then. If they are alive then maybe I can catch up, said Jiraiya, bowing and taking his leave. In River Country. The 2 blonde Jinchuriki had successfully found a ramen bar and were currently finishing their feast. The chef could only look at them, utterly mind-boggled. These 2 had each decimated nearly 10 bowls. It just wasn't possible. How can you both eat so much? Questioned the shocked chef. The 2 Jinchuriki just looked at each other with the last bit of their ramen dangling from their mouths before shrugging and slurped it up. Well, thanks for the ramen, old man, said Naruto as he put down the money for both his and Yujito's meal. Thanks for paying, Naruto, said Yujito as they got up and left. It's nothing, I figured you probably don't have much on you anyways, replied Naruto, knowing that she most likely didn't bring anything with her for her mission. So where are we going now? Asked Yujito as they walked in an unknown direction. So far she was enjoying being in Naruto's company. Sadly, it's the first time she's had a friend around her age. Training, Naruto said, turning his head, giving her a smile. Yujito blushed at this. Why the hell am I blushing? Snap out of it, Yujito. Don't make yourself look like a fool. It's only natural, kitten. He's your knight in shining armor after all, laughed Nibby. Stay out of this, Nico-chan. I'm only blushing because I'm nervous. I suck at interacting with people my own age since I never have before. I'm just joking, kitten. Besides, I'm happy for you. I told you there were other kind people in this world. Yujito. Hello? Repeated Naruto as he waved a hand in her face. Yujito snapped back into reality hearing Naruto. She blushed again from being caught zoning out. Sorry. It's alright, you were talking with Nibby, right? Asked Naruto. Yeah. How did you know that? Replied Yujito, looking at Naruto. Just the way your expression kept changing. It's similar to me when I talk to QB, explained Naruto. Oh, alright, so you said we're going training, right? Yup. I have to finish my new jutsu that I'm working on, informed Naruto as they arrived at the area he's been training at. What kind of jutsu is it? Asked Yujito, interested. Must be pretty impressive since he's strong enough to defeat 2 Akatsukis. Naruto clenched his fist, smirking. It's a wind jutsu. I'm not that great with seals, so I'm trying to make some strong jutsus that don't require them. A small cyclone started to form in front of his fist. Despite its size, it was rotating very fast. You must have pretty good chakra control for you to use it like that, said Yujito, impressed with the control he seemed to have over the jutsu. Yeah, it's similar to another jutsu of mine that's way harder to control. I got the basics of this one down, but this is where I need to improve, he said as he threw his fist outward like a punch towards a tree, and the cyclone shot out and began to expand the further it got. However, the wind died down quickly after he released it. I need to improve on the control of it after I release it, and also I need to increase the strength of it, explained Naruto. That was pretty cool. It looked like a tornado stretched out from your fist, said Yujito. She was pretty impressed by it. Granted, it didn't seem like it was much, but if he managed to perfect it, and was able to use it instantly without seals in a fight, it could prove very helpful. Yeah, time to work on it. Tajukage Bunshin no Jutsu, shouted Naruto as a couple hundred clones appeared, causing Yujito to stumble backwards in shock. What the hell? She shouted. The real Naruto looked over at Yujito and scratched the back of his head. Sorry about that, Yujito, I guess it is kind of shocking, joked Naruto. Damn straight it was shocking. You nearly gave me a heart attack, shouted Yujito, angry. Sorry. If you want I can teach it to you. Normally a ninja can't make this many, but we are kind of special, hee. Yujito got up. Sure, I guess it wouldn't hurt, replied Yujito, accepting the offer. Hee, I guess you haven't realized why I used it though, right? Asked Naruto. No, there's some special use for it or something? Questioned Yujito as she looked over Naruto's shoulder at the field of clones. Then she noticed that they were all practicing that jutsu Naruto just attempted. Wait, why you mean you use them for training like that? Naruto smiled. Yup. When I dispel them, all the experience they've gathered is transferred to me. So if I use one, then I'm learning twice as fast as normal. But as you can see, I'm using way more than that, finished Naruto, smiling, being a little proud that he discovered that trick. Yujito was shocked. This training style was insanely genius. I can't even comprehend how fast you could learn new jutsus with this. But you will when I teach it to you, smiled Naruto. He then proceeded in teaching her the awesomeness which is Kage Bunshin, in which they trained together for the rest of the day. Later that night, both Jinchuriki laid on their training grounds exhausted. Naruto was happy. In just another day he will probably master his new jutsu. Thanks for teaching me that, Naruto, said Yujito, looking over at him. That was easily the best training session she's ever had. She was able to completely master a few of her fire jutsu that were a bit of trouble for her to use before. No need for thanks, Yujito. We Jinchuriki got to help each other out, responded Naruto happily. Yup, that's true, replied Yujito, happy as well. I'm so glad I met him. For a lot more reasons than one, and Nico-chan, shut up before you say any smart comments about that. What? I wasn't going to say anything, kitten, replied Nibby innocently. Yeah, right. Back in the town. Two figures clad with a familiar black cloak with red clouds were making their way through the town. Deidara, keep your eyes open. They should be around here somewhere, said one of the Akatsuki that was hunched over, seemingly crawling along the ground. One for each of us, yeah, replied Deidara. Don't underestimate them. The Ninetales was able to take down Haiden and Kakuzu by himself. He won't be easily defeated like we originally thought. Don't worry, Sasori, the Ninetales fighting style won't be able to beat my art, yeah. With Naruto and Yujito. Shit! Not good. Come on, Yujito, we have to leave immediately, said Naruto, getting up on his feet in a hurry. Why? What's wrong? Questioned Yujito, also getting up. Akatsuki are in the town. I left a few clones in the town disguised with henge to keep an eye out for anything bad, explained Naruto. Yujito became scared. Not them again. Let's hurry, shouted Naruto as they both took off into the woods. With Deidara and Sasori. The two had searched high and low for an hour. It appears they already left, yes, said Deidara to his partner. Seems that way. We'll have to keep searching then. Let's go, Deidara, replied Sasori as he turned to leave. And I wanted to test out my C3, yeah. I guess it'll have to be a little longer, yeah. And with that they both left to keep looking for their prey. Few days later. Jiraiya had been hurrying to get to Nato, the river country's capital, in hopes of reaching Naruto if he was alive. In a couple days he had finally made it. He then began to question some of the townsfolk, all of them so far not recognizing Jiraiya's descriptions of the boy. He was about to give up until he finally found someone who knew something. He asked a street shop owner, and was rewarded. Excuse me, have you seen a blonde kid with blue eyes wearing orange running around here at some point in the last few weeks? Asked Jiraiya, crossing his fingers. In fact I did, Leaf Ninja, right? Replied the man. Jiraiya's eyes lit up at this. Yeah. How long ago was it? Must have been around 3 days ago. Energetic was he, saw him run by a few times for a few days up until 3 days ago, think he left here though. Anything else you know? The boy is my student and I got separated from him on a very dangerous mission, asked Jiraiya again. That's all I know about the boy. But there were a couple of awfully suspicious fellows around here also about 2 days ago. Never saw them before, they wandered around here for about an hour, word has it, before they left, informed the man. Suspicious looking? What did they look like then? Questioned Jiraiya. Didn't get a good look at their faces, but they wore a strange black cloak with what seemed to be red clouds dotted on them. Akatsuki, so whatever happened, Naruto managed to get away, but they are on his tail now. I gotta keep moving, thought Jiraiya, relieved that Naruto may still be alive. But you didn't catch any kind of physical characteristics about them? Well, they wore straw hats, so I couldn't get a look at their faces. One was a medium-sized man and the other was hunched over strangely like he was crawling or something, described the shop owner. Alright, thanks for your time, it was very helpful, said Jiraiya as he left. The one hunched over has to be Sasori. He's one of the few that I have a little bit of intel on from tracking Orochimaru. But I'm not sure about the second one. If only I knew who he was, I might be able to figure out what happened, since Reikage had informed me that the one who had offered the deal to the Cloud Council was Kakuzu. If it was a different pair on Naruto's tail, then that would mean the originals are unable to track him, further meaning that either Naruto or this other Jinchuriki had defeated them. Jiraiya decided to move on. If he didn't follow Naruto's tracks quickly enough, he might not be able to track him. Now where would they head to from here? Konoha? No, that would be too predictable for Akatsuki to ambush him. He's not that foolish, so where? With Naruto and Yujito. They had been on the move constantly, having left Nato a week ago, and were now nearing the hidden waterfall village. Naruto had remembered a conversation with Jiraiya that the hidden waterfall was much smaller than Konoha but still held to a peace treaty issued by the first Hokage generations ago, so they should be safe. Alright, according to the locals the village should be right here, said Naruto as they got out of the dense brush of the forest to be greeted by the base of a large plateau with a considerably large waterfall flowing off the top. Naruto, I don't see no village, maybe they gave us the wrong information, replied Yujito looking around. Hidden by the waterfall maybe? Asked Naruto, thinking. He knew of a few back home that had small caves behind them that he would sometimes use to hide from the villagers when he was younger, and occasionally ANBU after his pranks. Well, we might as well check it out, shouted Yujito, jumping down from the ledge. They came out on landing gracefully, and continued making her way down to the waterfall, Naruto right behind her. As they approached, they were able to jump to a few rocks sticking out of the water and onto a ledge that led behind the fall. Once behind, they were greeted by a pretty large cave. Naruto's eyes darted around the cave. Wow, this is huge, but still no signs of some village. Yujito noticed that the cave floor had a thin layer of water flowing towards the entrance where the waterfall was. Where is the water running from? She thought as she continued to look ahead and found a moderate-sized pool at the back of the cave. Hey Naruto! Shouted Yujito over to her companion behind her. The water in the cave is flowing from the pool here, so there might be some kind of underwater cave system under it, explained Yujito. Naruto walked over to the pool and looked in. Seems kinda deep, I know, he said, getting an idea. He then bit his thumb and went through a few seals. Kuchios no jutsu. He slammed his hands on the ground and then appeared an orange toad as tall as Naruto's waist. Gamakichi! Shouted Naruto, greeting his toad friend. Yo! What's up, Naruto? Replied the toad. A frog? Asked Yujito, confused, looking at the large amphibian. Gamakichi looked behind Naruto at the other blonde. So is this your new girl, Naruto? Not bad, cheered the toad. Yujito went wide-eyed. What? No! I am not this idiot's girl, she retorted, pointing her finger at Naruto. Naruto got nervous. Times like these Yujito became as unpredictable as a cat, and that wasn't a good thing. He bent down to Gamakichi and whispered in his ear, please don't say stuff like that around her, Gamakichi. This girl can be even scarier than Sakura-chan. Gamakichi nodded understandingly but forgot to keep his voice down. No problem, bro. So she's one of those types? Before Naruto could react, Yujito pounced on top of him, knocking him down, not in a good way either. What was that? What type am I, Mr. Fox? Asked Yujito dangerously while gripping his jumpsuit. Gamakichi was just complimenting you, Yujito. Yeah, that's it. He was saying he likes strong girls, shouted Naruto, desperately scared for his life right now. Yujito glared at him. I'll let you off the hook this time, Fox, but if you try to pull a quick one over me again, you better run first, Yujito informed, letting out a considerable amount of killer intent. Why, yes, ma'am, quickly answered Naruto. I better watch my mouth more. Naruto wasn't kidding about her, thought Gamakichi, sweating. Yujito slowly let Naruto go and got up off of him, still glaring. Once she was off, Naruto got up nervously, scratching the back of his head. Okay, so Gamakichi, I need you to look around in that pool over there and see if there's a passage of some sorts. Gotcha, replied the toad as he dived into the pool. A few minutes later he returned. You were right, bro. There is a passage that leads to another cave, informed Gamakichi. Okay, thanks a lot. I'll call you back out if I need you again, said Naruto. Anytime, Naruto, replied the toad, disappearing in a puff of smoke. The two Jinchuriki then dived into the water, and sure enough they easily found the passage Gamakichi was talking about. They swam through it for a couple of meters before they entered another pool in which they swam to the surface. They both recovered their breaths and looked around. In the middle of the pool there was another waterfall. They looked up to notice that it was coming from a narrow opening pretty high up in the cave. There was also a staircase that spiraled up the walls to the top. I guess we should take that up then, said Naruto, looking over at Yujito, who nodded. They both got out of the water and made their way up the spiraling staircase. Once they reached the top, their eyes widened from the sight. Now in front of them was an extremely large tree in the distance that was surrounded by a lake. Wow, I never knew a tree like that existed, commented Yujito in awe. No kidding, replied Naruto, equally in awe of the massive tree. He then noticed that there was a path from where they were at leading towards the lake. Well, if this is it, it sure is hidden. Let's keep going, he said, walking ahead. Yujito then snapped out of it and quickly followed. Shibuki-sama, two kids have found their way here. They just emerged from the east cave, a boy and a girl, informed what appeared to be a waterfall guard to his leader. Are they shinobi? Asked Shibuki. He was a young man around 19 with long dark hair and obsidian eyes. He wore a large teal coat that was rimmed with black. Underneath he wore standard black shinobi slacks with a white shirt. He also wore the hidden waterfall's forehead protector proudly. Most likely, sir, however they are not wearing any head protectors to tell where they are from, answered the guard. Have a squad bring them in to me. If they give any trouble then arrest them, ordered the leader of the hidden waterfall. The guard bowed, as you wish, Shibuki-sama, and then vanished with a shunshin. With Naruto and Yujito. This place sure is incredible, said Yujito as she took in the scenery as the two walked down a road towards the gigantic tree. Definitely looks like the village is on the shore of that lake up ahead. I can see some buildings now, replied Naruto. Now I just wonder if we are going to be able to just walk right into it since I don't see any gates. Just then a squad of 3 waterfall ninjas appeared in front of them. Halt! What business do you have in the hidden waterfall? Questioned the ninja sternly. Naruto was the first to respond. We are both just looking for a place to rest for a few days. We mean no harm, he said as Yujito nodded in agreement. Our leader would like to speak with you both. Follow us, responded one of the ninjas after determining that the two kids didn't seem to be a threat, then began walking with his squad back towards the village with both Jinchuriki following behind. As they entered the village they noticed that it was clearly smaller than their own ninja villages, but it seemed to be pretty ordinary and peaceful. They most likely don't engage in much conflict like the larger villages. Probably only using ninjas for defense if anyone ever managed to find the darn place. Eventually they made it across the bridge over the lake that led to the overgrown tree. They then found themselves following the ninja through a door-like opening in the base of the tree that spiraled up inside the gargantuan tree. After walking up around 4 stories they came into a room that they both realized was an office. Besides being located inside a tree, the room was standard with a desk, a few chairs, some pictures around the walls. They noticed a young man standing by a carved-out window behind the desk looking out. Shibuki-sama, we brought them for you, announced one of the guards. Shibuki turned around to face them. Thank you, you may leave us, he said as the guards bowed and left. He then looked over the 2 people in front of him. You may take a seat if you wish. Thank you, said both Naruto and Yujito as they sat down on 2 of chairs in front of Shibuki's desk. My name's Shibuki, I'm the leader of the hidden waterfall. It's a pleasure to meet you both, he greeted with a smile. Nice to meet you, Shibuki-san. My name's Naruto and this is my friend Yujito, replied Naruto, again remembering to be polite. So, what brings you both to the hidden waterfall? Asked Shibuki. We both just wished to stay for a few days. We have been traveling non-stop for a while now and we're hoping you would allow us to rest here, informed Naruto. Shibuki smirked. Akatsuki was chasing you both, huh? He said, shocking both Naruto and Yujito. How did you know? Shouted Naruto. Shibuki held his smirk. This village may not be incredibly powerful militarily wise, but we are great traffickers of information. Just then another person entered the room. Naruto and Yujito looked back at the new arrival. It was a green-haired girl with pink eyes. She wore a high-cut white tank top over mesh shirt and a very low skirt over mesh leggings. She also wore long white armbands and white sandals. She was very petite but held a certain cuteness about her. She seemed to be about 18. Ah, just in time, Fu-chan, said Shibuki as Fu entered and sat down in another chair on the other side of Yujito. So are these them, Shibuki-kun? Asked Fu, looking over at the two foreigners. Yup, nodded Shibuki. Naruto, Yujito, meet my fiancé, Fu. They both greeted and shook Fu's hand. Now, as I was saying, the Waterfall Village is top-notch at gathering information. We must be, since we aren't that strong and need to have a good eye out for what's going on. The first time I looked at you both, I knew you two were Uzumaki Naruto and Ni Yujito, explained Shibuki. Yujito spoke up. You knew who both of us were before? Shibuki smiled. Especially you both. I tried to keep a close tab on Akatsuki's activities, including what they are after. So I already know you both are the containers of the 9 tails and 2 tails. Again, the two Jinchuriki were shocked. Why would you look into that? Questioned Naruto, worried that Shibuki wouldn't let them stay since he already knew Akatsuki was tailing them and they were both Jinchuriki. Noticing the tense look on both of their faces, Shibuki explained further. Now, the reason why I went that far is because, believe it or not, my fiancée Fu-chan here is also a container. She has the 7 tails. What? Shouted both Naruto and Yujito, turning their heads back to Fu. Fu smiled at them. It's nice to actually meet some of the other containers. Watching the interaction, Shibuki continued. Now you can see why I keep track of Akatsuki. Our village is pretty safe though. You both are welcome here as long as you want. Thanks a lot, Shibuki-san. Thanked Naruto. It's a pleasure to help out other containers. Fu-chan, why don't you show these two around the village? I'm sure you'll enjoy each other's company, said Shibuki. Sure, replied Fu, getting up. Follow me, you guys. Naruto and Yujito thanked Shibuki again and got up and followed Fu out. They made their way out of the trunk of the tree and proceeded across the bridge. Naruto was the first to speak. So Fu, have you met any of the other containers? She shook her head. You two are the first I've met. Shibuki-kun has told me a little about some of the others though. Either of you met any others? She asked in return. Yujito also shook her head. You guys are the only ones I've met so far, and, remember I said Killer Bee isn't in this story. I've met the container of the 1 tails, replied Naruto. Fu looked over at him. Gaara, right? Naruto nodded. Yeah, me and him fought during the Chunin exams little over a year and a half ago. He was treated as a weapon and had a really hard life even for a Jinchuriki. He became a mindless killer. But I was able to knock some sense into him after I beat him though, explained Naruto. That must have been some fight, 2 hosts going at it, stated Yujito. Yeah, it was outside the village. The Sand Village tried to ambush us along with the Sound Village. They planned to have Gaara unleash Shikaku in the middle of the village. We drove him outside before he could fully transform. He eventually did, but I still managed to beat him without using Kyuubi, stated Naruto proudly. You defeated him without turning into Kyuubi? Asked Yujito while Fu listened in. I tapped into a small amount of his power in order to summon the Toad boss Gamabunta, and fought alongside him and defeated the 1 tails. That's pretty impressive to fight the full form of a tailed demon without using your own in the same way again, replied Yujito. Well, I can't use Kyuubi like that, he's way too strong for me to control, responded Naruto. Naruto is right, mine is the 7 tails and it's incredibly hard to control. I can't imagine what the 9 tails is like, responded Fu. Yujito pouted. Well, excuse me for only having the 2 tails. Naruto clapped his hand over her shoulder. It's alright, Yujito. At least you can control yours. I can barely use mine without the chakra taking control of me. Yujito jumped a little at the sudden contact with a slight blush. Yeah, I guess you're right, damn it. I can't believe I'm still this nervous around him. The 3 continued to walk around the village, chatting for a few hours, stopping to get some food before Fu showed them to 2 guest rooms at a small apartment complex where they could stay during their visit. After a week, the 3 Jinchuriki and Shibuki got to know each other better. Naruto took time out to practice his new jutsu. He quickly mastered it, being able to use it quickly without seals just as he intended. He also practiced various forms of it as well, learning to use it open-handed as well as realizing he could keep it on the front of his fist and not release the tornado, allowing him to add a powerful extra kick to some of his punches. He could also control the focus of the release to a wider range, enabling him to deflect projectiles and possibly some other jutsu. Deciding it was time to name his new jutsu, he dubbed it Futon, Kaze Bakuhal, Wind Tunnel. Naruto now was sleeping in, until a loud banging from his door woke him up. Naruto! Get up! Shouted a voice that Naruto recognized as Yujito's. He slowly got up, ignoring the continuous pounding at his door. Putting some clothes on, he went over and slid his door open to be hit right in the face. Oh crap. Sorry Naruto, shouted Yujito as she quickly bent down to help him up. She wasn't looking when he opened the door, and he ended up receiving one of her knocks to the face. Ow, why were you banging on my door so hard, mumbled Naruto, as Yujito helped pull him up. Fu asked if we both wanted to spar in one of the training fields here, so I came to get you, sorry. She really was mad at herself for hitting him like that. Geez, that hurt, you hit harder than Sakura-chan, he mumbled, holding his nose that got hit. Yujito's blood went cold. Sakura-chan? Who's that? Is she his girlfriend? And why am I reacting like this? Hey Yujito, said Naruto. Sorry, was just thinking about something. Let's go, she said as she began walking to the training field. What the? She looked sad all of a sudden. Was it something I said? He wondered, trying to think of what just happened, as he followed her. A few minutes later they arrived at the training field where Fu was waiting. Fu waved but noticed Yujito's off look, and Naruto seemed to be deep in thought. Wonder what's wrong, she thought. Shaking it off, she shouted over to them, you two ready for some fun? Naruto looked up. Yeah. Yujito didn't respond. Yeah, something had to have happened, Fu thought. How about me and Yujito go at it first? She said, wanting to try to snap the other girl back into reality. Yujito finally looked up. I'm okay. Naruto took a seat on the grassy ground as the two female Jinchuriki got into position on the field facing each other. Naruto watched with anticipation. Now that I think of it, I haven't seen Yujito fight yet. This should be interesting. Fu looked up at her competition. No using our demon's powers, okay? Yujito smiled, finally snapping out of it. Agreed. Naruto shouted from the sidelines, I call winner. They both continued to size each other up for a few more seconds before Fu threw a couple shurikens towards Yujito. Yujito quickly dodged them by jumping off to her side before coming face to face with the charging Fu. Yujito gracefully jumped back onto her hands, then pushed off onto her feet, completing her flip as she watched Fu punch the ground right where she just was and formed a small crater from the impact. Damn, she's strong and pretty quick, thought Yujito, ducking to dodge a roundhouse kick. Naruto's sweat dropped. Scary, she's like a miniature Bachan, he thought, watching Yujito get pushed back by Fu's onslaught. Yujito continued to avoid her opponent. She's not as quick as I am, but she's hell of a lot stronger, and it's obvious she takes pride in that. I'll just have to use my superior agility to stay clear from a direct hit, and I'll be fine. Fu threw a roundhouse kick at Yujito, but the girl dodged by quickly dropping to the ground and sweeping with her own leg, successfully knocking Fu off her grounded foot as she too went down. Yujito, using her momentum, spun around and brought an axe kick down on Fu, who just hit the ground. Unable to dodge the quick attack, Fu ended up taking the blow to her stomach, coughing up a little blood. Damn, Fu is scary with that strength, but Yujito is so quick. Either one of them would be tough to beat since I can't use Raisin Shuriken, he thought, Naruto impressed by both girls' performances so far. Yujito gracefully leaped back onto her feet and took a jump back. Let's kick this up a bit, she thought as she went through some hand seals. Katan, Hoenka no Jutsu, shouted Yujito as 3 large blasts of fire shot towards Fu, who was just getting up. Fu, still holding her stomach, attempted to roll out of the way, but the flame caught her foot, burning it, causing her to gasp from the contact. Wasting no time, Yujito dashed towards the injured girl. Seeing this, Fu attempted to move out of the way, but as soon as her foot hit the ground, a shooting pain went up her leg. Yujito quickly gave a hard kick to the girl's side, causing her to fly back a few feet before hitting the ground roughly. Fu immediately felt something against her throat, and opened her eyes to see a smirking Yujito above her with a kunai pressed against her jugular. Checkmate, said Yujito, still smirking as she pulled away and helped Fu up off the ground. Wow, Yujito sure is cutthroat in the heat of battle, thought Naruto, getting a little nervous about fighting his female friend. Fu slowly got up on her feet with the help of Yujito. You sure are skilled, Yujito, said Fu as they walked back over towards Naruto. Thanks, Fu. Sorry about your foot. I've been raised to go all out no matter what. I had to in order to survive, replied Yujito. It's okay, it was a nice change of pace. Nobody in the village will really be that hard on me in a spar because they don't want to hurt me since I'm Shibuki-kun's fiancé, explained Fu as they arrived at where Naruto was watching. Fu sat down and looked over at Naruto. Looks like you're up, Naruto. Don't take Yujito too lightly, she said, laughing a little as Naruto got up. Yeah, after watching that, it's obvious she could kill me if I do, said Naruto as he began walking into the field. Oh, what's wrong? Can kill 2 Akatsuki but you're afraid of little ol' me? Taunted Yujito as they both got into position. You frighten me more than Akatsuki, he replied Naruto, scratching the back of his head nervously. Yujito rolled her eyes. That baka, still I haven't seen him in a fight yet, and no matter what he just said, he still managed to take those two out. This should be fun, she thought, smirking. Crap, I really am going to die, aren't I? Thought Naruto, recognizing the look in Yujito's eyes from his past experience and teachings from Ero Sennin. Flashback. Nay, Ero Sennin, why do you always keep going back peeping on girls when you get your ass kicked every time? Asked Naruto as he and Jiraiya walked through the woods. Research Gaki. In order for me to write my books, I have to do my best to understand women, which is a very difficult task, even more so than an S-rank mission, explained the pervert to his student. Is it really that hard? Asked Naruto innocently. It's beyond hard, but soon, my young apprentice, you will be aiding me in this task. No way. You're not involving me in that stuff, retorted Naruto. Haha. That's what you think, Gaki. You'll see one day when you start joining me in peeping just like the third, Kakashi, and even the fourth, proclaimed Jiraiya, proud of his accomplishment. What? You even got the fourth to do that? Yes, Gaki, it's an honor to peep alongside a master such as myself. Now I'll give you a tip, it's even more valuable than Rasengan, it will save your life countless times, Gaki. Ah, really? What kind of jutsu is it? Cheered Naruto. Hehe, it's not a jutsu. Then what is it, Ero Sennin? Asked Naruto, not as interested now. Something that all men should fear, it's silently agreed upon by all heterosexual men to be called the look. When you receive the look by a female, you need to either run or accept death, explained Jiraiya seriously. What, are you serious? Death? Stuttered Naruto. Jiraiya nodded his head. You can tell it's the look by a woman's eyes and facial expression. In most cases she will have a smirk adorning her face, it's one that displays confidence and anticipation. Also her eyes will have a certain glisten in them. This displays that she is thinking about something that she can't wait for. And finally her eyes will also appear more narrow, which is a sign of pure evil. When all of these combine, the results are devastating, and I hope you remember all this. It will save your life, Naruto finished, Jiraiya completely serious. Okay. End of flashback. Naruto took another look at his female friend. Is this the look you were talking about, sensei? Thought Naruto, noticing all the right signs on the girl, and it was all seemingly directed at him. He even actually called his master sensei for once, in understanding of the seriousness of the situation. What the hell is this baka doing? Why does he look so serious all of a sudden? Wondered Yujito, looking at Naruto, who dropped the childlike expression on his face for one fit for a war veteran. Weirdo, hey baka. Are you ready? She shouted over. Whenever you are. He shouted back to her. Ero Sennin, wherever you are. Thank you for your teachings, he thought as Yujito charged at him. Who knows where? Achoo. You feeling alright, Jiraiya-kun? Asked a seductive voice. Don't worry, a legend like myself never gets sick, haha, replied the pervert. Since I parted with the Gaki, I feel as though he's getting into more women trouble than I am. He glanced up at the girl on top of him. Might as well enjoy my life before I arrive back in Konoha and get murdered after I explain everything. Tajikage Bunshin no Jutsu, shouted Naruto, creating about 50 clones that charged at the approaching Nico container. There's no way that I can beat her in taijutsu. I'll also have to be careful with my wind jutsu against her fire, he thought, trying to come up with a plan. You forgot you taught me that too, Naruto. Tajikage Bunshin no Jutsu, she yelled back, matching Naruto's clones' numbers with her own as they began to decimate Naruto's army. Naruto's face paled. Oh shit. Not good. Yujito smirked as she began to overwhelm Naruto's clones with the speed of her own. The look on his face was priceless. Alright, I'll have to risk it, thought Naruto as a couple of his clones fell back to stand next to him while he started going through some hand seals. Catching this, Yujito also immediately flashed through some seals of her own. I know he only can use wind. Futon Bakuho. Naruto breathed out as a huge gust of wind blew across the field, starting to destroy some of the clones. At nearly the same time Yujito finished her seals, Katan, Karya Enden. An enormous wave of fire shot out of Yujito's mouth, colliding with Naruto's wind jutsu, amplifying it as it grew stronger, and destroyed the rest of the clones and continued to where Naruto was standing. Two of Naruto's clones threw one of the Narutos up in the air over the attack. Not getting away that easy, Naruto, she said in her head as she quickly went through another set of hand seals. Katan, Hozenka no Jutsu. Dozens of fiery balls shot out in a spread at the airborne Naruto. Gotcha, smirked Yujito triumphantly, but was immediately replaced by surprise as the Naruto she hit turned into a cloud of smoke. That one was a decoy. She turned her head to see a second Naruto a few feet from her with a swirling chakra ball in his hand. Rasengan! He shouted as he shoved it forward at Yujito, but she did a back flip, latching her hands on Naruto's, and continued her flip and shoved her foot into Naruto's back, using her momentum to throw him backwards as she hit the ground. Yujito quickly moved in to finish it but was caught off guard as Naruto raised his hand out at her, and within a second, a powerful gust of wind shot out, blasting Yujito back a few yards, but still managed to elegantly land on her feet. Darn, I almost had him there. Looks like I underestimated those lightning reflexes of yours, he joked Naruto as he got up. Yujito smirked. So is this the best you got, Mr. Akatsuki Killer? She taunted. Nah, if I used what I did against them just now, you would have died. So you see, I'm limited here, he said, smirking back at her. Yujito pouted. Don't worry about me, I can handle myself, Naruto. I can't, Yujito. That jutsu is on an entirely different level, he said in low voice. He didn't want to hold back with her and offend her, but he can't use that jutsu. If you're not going to take me seriously, then there's no point in us fighting. I'm not some helpless little girl that needs to be babied, she said angrily, then started to walk away. I'm not trying to baby you. You have to understand that the jutsu I'm talking about is way too dangerous to be used like that, he shouted due to the distance she was putting between them. She looked back angrily and upset. I'm not weak. I've been through too much in life to be weak. You're not the only one who has a burden and wants to prove themselves. I thought you understood me, she then ran off. Fu looked back at Naruto understandingly and got up to go after Yujito. Naruto just collapsed to the ground with his head hanging. I didn't mean it like that. Eventually Fu found Yujito sitting on a dock, hugging her legs, looking at the water. Fu slowly walked up next to her and sat down as well. I'm sure Naruto didn't mean to hurt you by that. He's not that type of person, started Fu. I just don't want any special treatment. My village hated me. I was just a weapon to them, and now that I'm away from that, I want to be me. Yujito, I want to prove to everyone that I'm strong, especially Naruto. He saved me, and I can't thank him enough for it. But I don't want him to think he has to always protect me. I want to show him that I am strong too and that I can fight alongside him, replied Yujito quietly. Fu placed a comforting hand on Yujito's shoulders, and I'm sure Naruto would understand that if you confronted him about it. I can tell he cares about you a lot. He doesn't mean any harm by it. Also, while you were walking away, I saw the look on his face. He does understand. As Jinchuriki, we've all been down that road. He knows better than anyone about what you're going through. Yujito looked over at Fu. Then why did he do it if he knew? She asked as her eyes started to get wet. Fu smiled. His jutsu may actually be that powerful, Yujito. You said he beat 2 Akatsuki. He had to have something crazy up his sleeve in order to do that. Why don't we head back to him and ask him if we could see it for ourselves? Okay, she said quietly. Fu patted Yujito's back. And if his jutsu is really not that impressive, then we can both beat him up for it, she said, laughing a little to cheer Yujito up. Yujito smiled. Yeah, I'll definitely kick his ass, she whispered. Once they returned, they saw Naruto lying down, stretched out on the grass. Hey Naruto, we're back, shouted Fu as they walked up to him. Naruto sat up looking at Yujito. Yujito, I'm sorry, I didn't want tea. It's alright, Naruto, she responded, cutting him off. He really did look down, like he was beating himself up inside for doing that. The jutsu is just extremely dangerous, he said. Yujito then smirked. That's why we want to see it, cause if it's not as powerful as you say it is, she said, walking over to him and leaning her head down to his ear. You're dead, she whispered, and pulled back, causing Naruto to get extremely nervous. I swear it is, he said, stuttering. Then show us, she said, smirking evilly at him. Alright, he responded, standing up. I'll show you guys the entire thing. He faced them and held out his hand, palm up, and formed Rasengan. The two girls watched intently. This is called Rasengan. It's an A-rank jutsu developed by the 4th Hokage, he said, looking at it. Konoha's yellow flash? Asked Yujito, surprised that it was such a famous ninja's jutsu. Naruto nodded. That's the thing you tried to hit me with in our spar, pointed out Yujito, looking at it. Yeah, it's a jutsu created by spinning chakra around in every direction at high speeds. It's the highest level of form manipulation a person can achieve, he said, then turned around and slammed it into the ground. The girls watched amazed as it seemingly drilled into the ground, leaving a decent-sized crater. Wow, that's stronger than it looks. Good thing you didn't get me with that, said Yujito, looking at the damage. As you can see, this jutsu is strong by itself but very hard to control. It took the 4th Hokage 4 years to develop and learn the jutsu, and took the Sannin Jiraiya 1 year to learn after it was created, explained Naruto. No wonder it's so strong. How long did it take you? Asked Fu. I learned how to use it in a week, stated Naruto proudly. What? Shouted both Fu and Yujito, looking at him like he was crazy. How could you learn it that fast when it took those two famous ninjas years? Asked Fu. He probably used Kage Bunshin to do it, replied Yujito. No, I didn't. I learned this before I knew how to use Kage Bunshins like I do now, corrected Naruto. That's incredible, Naruto complimented Yujito. But Rasengan was an incomplete jutsu, he said. It's not complete. How? It's so strong already? Asked Yujito, shocked that there was more to this jutsu. The fourth originally intended to combine Rasengan with his nature manipulation, but after years of trying he was unable to do so. Yujito stared at him. Don't tell me you. Naruto smirked. As I said, Rasengan alone is an A-rank jutsu. Nobody knew what rank jutsu it would be if it was completed, or if it was even possible in the first place, he dragged out, enjoying the looks on both girls. So you completed it? Asked Fu. Yeah, and that was how I killed Kakuzu and why I couldn't use it in our spar, but I'll show it to you so you can see for yourself, he said as he created a shadow clone and formed Rasengan. Now this is what happens when I add my nature manipulation. He then started adding wind chakra into the Rasengan as blades started to form around it, and the wind started to pick up around them, all the while a screeching sound was being emitted from the jutsu. Incredible, whispered Yujito as Naruto held the finished jutsu above his head. Naruto looked back at Yujito with a smile. I'd use this on myself before I would ever think of hitting you with it, he said as he turned back around and threw the jutsu. He can throw that thing, both girls screamed in their heads. The jutsu collided with a tree, causing an enormous explosion followed by a shockwave, almost knocking the girls over by surprise. Fu was the first to respond. That's insane. Yujito was speechless. Naruto turned around to face Yujito and put a hand on her shoulder. You see why I couldn't use that now? I could never use something so damaging on such a pretty face, he said, smiling. Yujito turned beet red. Before she could finish with her stuttering, a waterfall ninja shined next to them. Naruto-san, Shibuki-sama would like to talk to you in his office, he said as Naruto looked at him and nodded. Then the ninja shined off again. Naruto turned back to the girls. I'll catch you two later, he said as he ran towards the tree. Fu looked over at Yujito and giggled. Shut up, retorted Yujito, snapping back into reality by Fu's giggles. Come on, let's head back to the village, replied Fu, smiling as she began walking back towards town with Yujito, who reluctantly stepped in pace with the teasing girl. Naruto soon arrived at Shibuki's office and entered. Hey Shibuki, you need me? Shibuki looked up, hearing the voice of the boy he sent for. Hey Naruto, I just wanted to talk to you about Akatsuki and see if we can exchange information on them, informed the waterfall leader. Sure, what about them? Asked Naruto. He didn't like the subject of Akatsuki for obvious reasons, but he knew it was also very important to learn what he could about them. Well, let's start with which members we know. Even though we are pretty good at gathering information, Akatsuki is incredibly difficult. I know of only 4 members: Sasori, Deidara, Haiden and Kakuzu, who was from our own village, explained Shibuki. At the mention of Haiden and Kakuzu, Naruto's eyes lit up. Kakuzu is dead, and I'm not sure about Haiden. Kind of lost his head, he said, chuckling a little, remembering he kicked his head somewhere into the forest back in Lightning Country. They're dead? How? Asked Shibuki immediately. This was new. Well, to sum it up, they made a deal with the Cloud to get Yujito out of the village so they could capture her, which they did, but I was able to track them down. I cut off Haiden's head and kicked it deep into a forest, but I'm not sure if he's really dead yet. Then I fought and killed Kakuzu. I'm impressed, Naruto said, Shibuki smiling. Kakuzu was very strong, but it's good to hear they lost someone as valuable as him. What about the other 2 you mentioned? Questioned Naruto. He heard a little bit about Sasori from Erosenin but didn't know the other one. Sasori's from the sand and specializes in puppets. He's also incredibly strong. Deidara is from the rock and supposedly uses long-ranged explosives, also a very strong one. Naruto nodded. They all are extremely strong. The 2 that I know of that you didn't include are Uchiha Itachi. He has an advanced Sharingan and specializes in Genjutsu. My sensei said he's probably the top Genjutsu user in the world right now. Just looking into his eyes can just about kill you. His partner is Hashigeki Kisame. He's one of the 7 shinobi swordsmen from the mist. I haven't seen him really fight, but I heard he's incredibly strong physically and can use high-level water jutsus. As always, 2 more deadly members. Also from what I know, however which way they are extracting the Biju, they have to wait before they can seal the stronger ones, unlike Fu and yourself. So I'd say you're safe for a short while, but you have Yujito with you and she's the Two Tails, so they are going to be making moves on the two of you a lot. Yeah, I didn't know they had to wait for the stronger Biju, but I figured we would be a prime target, since if they came after us they would be getting two instead of one. Explained Naruto. He knew they were going to be in a tough situation together, especially without Ero-Sennin around. Whenever you leave, just be careful. Also, there's another reason I called for you, he said with a smile. Eh? What is it? Asked Naruto. I'm sure you noticed the activity in the village has been picking up over the week. Naruto nodded. He did notice it was getting a little difficult trafficking through the village. Well, that's because tomorrow is our annual Moonlight Festival. Every year around this time the moon is full but gets a bit brighter than usual. It's a pretty serene view with the light reflecting off the lake. But anyways, it's tomorrow. You and Yujito should stay for it and relax a bit before you leave, said Shibuki. Fu also made sure he told Naruto this. That girl was up to something. Sure, I guess we can stay for the festival then leave the next morning. I'm sure Yujito wouldn't mind either, replied Naruto. Also, I'm sure you don't have anything to wear for it, so I'll lend you something for it tomorrow. It's a shinobi festival. We don't dress too formally but more like an upscale shinobi clothing. You'll see what I mean tomorrow. Anyways, I'll catch up with you later, Naruto. Okay, thanks, Shibuki. Naruto waved and excused himself to go find his two Jinchuriki friends. Back in Konoha. Time to get killed, thought Jiraiya as jumped into the Hokage's office through the window, shocking Tsunade and Shizen. Jiraiya. What are you doing back here already? Questioned Tsunade, still shocked and confused. He shouldn't be back for nearly another year. I kind of ran into a slight dilemma, said Jiraiya slowly. Tsunade glared at him. What do you mean by dilemma? Where's Naruto? That's the dilemma, I have no clue where he is. Yup, he was going to die any second now. What? You lost him? How the hell did you manage that? Screamed Tsunade, standing up and slamming her fists down onto her desk, breaking it. I'm pretty sure he's fine though. Explain. Right now. Everything. Demanded Tsunade. How dare he lose the boy she thought of as a son? I left him in the hidden cloud cause they had some information on Akatsuki that I needed to scout out. Turned out the information was fake and that the Cloud's Council was paid off by Akatsuki to get their two-tailed container out of the village and to get me away from it. Jiraiya noticed Tsunade's glare was getting ever more intense as he continued, especially with the mention of Akatsuki B, but when I got back it turned out Naruto found out somehow and went on his own to stop the two-tailed Jinchuriki. You mean he walked knowingly right into Akatsuki? That baka does he in. He survived though. I found evidence of the fight, but a few days later after searching I arrived in Naoto in River Country, and a local had spotted Naruto there, so he did manage to get out of Akatsuki's hands, explained Jiraiya. Tsunade sighed. The Gaki was still obviously in danger, but at least he managed to escape them initially. So he ran off on his own, escaped Akatsuki, then runs all the way to River Country? Yeah, Reikage said that the two-tailed container was hated in the cloud, and if Naruto managed to save it, that most likely they would leave the country to stop Hunternines from tracking them. He left River Country by the time I got there, but I don't know where he went. Damn that Gaki. I know he felt compelled to save the other Jinchuriki, but now what does he plan on doing, said Tsunade. She was still pissed off that Jiraiya lost him, but also knew Naruto, and that he would in fact recklessly run off to save someone like that. Just then a small messenger frog jumped into the window and up to Jiraiya. He picked up the scroll that was on the frog's back and read it, his eyes going wide. Tsunade noticed this. Well, what does it say? It says Naruto had summoned Gamakichi near the hidden waterfall village about a week ago. He used him to try to find the location of the village, explained Jiraiya. Well, what are you doing? Stop standing around here and get over there, demanded Tsunade, shouting at her old teammate. Alright, send a messenger bird there immediately as well. Later, said Jiraiya, disappearing in a puff of smoke. Tsunade looked over at Shizen. Have a message sent out to the waterfall and inform them that if Naruto is there that he should remain inside the village so he can meet up with Jiraiya again. Okay, she responded and ran out of the room. Tsunade leaned back in her chair and pulled out some sake from her drawer. Even outside of the village, that baka gives me a headache, just stay safe, brat. Back in the waterfall. So what are your and Naruto's plans after you leave here? Asked Fu as she and Yujito walked through the town chatting. No idea, I think we are just winging it. He got split up from his sensei when he saved me, so he's just traveling around training and trying to keep a low profile for obvious reasons, replied Yujito. You're going to go back to the Leaf with him? Yeah, Reikage let me go from the village, so I'm allowed to join another if I want. But I think it's still a while until we are going to head there. They entered a small tea shop and sat at a table to rest. Fu glanced over at Yujito, who looked to be thinking about something. That's pretty romantic, you and your savior traveling the world together alone while fighting against a secret organization. Fu got the desired effect when Yujito blushed. It's not like that, retorted Yujito. So you're not attracted to Naruto at all? Asked Fu innocently. Wa? No. He's a baka. Quickly shot back Yujito, embarrassed. Fu smirked. Oh? He's a pretty handsome baka who saved your life and is caring for you. Do I need to also mention what he said to you a few minutes ago, She teased. Yujito blushed more and kept silent. I couldn't like him. I know I feel different around him than others, but it couldn't be that. It's only because he's helping me so much and was the first person my age to actually be friends with me. You should see yourself blushing, Yujito joked Fu, causing Yujito to give a quick glare at her. Well, I don't want to push you, but if you do feel something for him, you should let him know. You two would be good for each other. He's just a good friend to me, that's it, responded Yujito, but she wasn't sure if that was the truth. Anyways, there's a festival tomorrow night that we have each year called the Moonlight Festival. Shibuki is talking to Naruto about it. You both should stay for it. Sure, that sounds like fun. We need to get you a dress, said Fu excitedly while pulling Yujito towards the clothing district of the village. Just you wait, Yujito, you're going to knock Naruto out dead when I'm done with you. Yujito sighed with a faint blush on her cheeks. Seriously, it's not like that, she responded while being dragged by Fu. Fu rolled her eyes. Put a sock in it, Yujito. When it happens, you'll be thanking me. Fu eventually found the store she was looking for. It had an entire array of many different styles of shinobi wear. Yujito looked around confused. I thought you said we were looking for a dress. Fu nodded her head. We are. These are shinobi dresses, she replied happily as she began looking through all the racks of clothing. After a few hours of searching and a few dozen dresses later, Yujito finally found one she really liked as she stepped out of the dressing room. And, okay, so basically the dress is the same type of thing the current Mizuki is wearing. Now, for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what to call it, so yeah, my bad. It was a dark violet color with black netting and a dark blue belt. There were no extravagant designs like some of the other dresses in the store, but the simplicity of it enhanced Yujito's beauty by a long shot. Wow, Yujito, that one's perfect for you. I was just joking before, but I think you really are going to knock him out, said Fu, giggling. Yujito, however, decided to just ignore Fu for the moment and examine herself in the mirror. A small smile graced her face. She did look nice in it. Back in the cloud, she never had the chance to do these types of things. Hanging out with another girl, shopping, looking for a dress to impress a beau. No. That's not what I'm doing. Fu watched as Yujito looked herself over and developed a faint pink tinge. Thinking of the reactions you're going to get him? Yujito turned and glared at her. I am not thinking about him. Fu smirked heavily. And she takes the bait. What are you talking about? I said reactions. It's a festival. There's going to be a ton of people that will gawk over you. Geez, I didn't know your mind revolved around one person so much. I wonder who it could be to have you acting like this. He must be pretty special. Hook, line, and sinker. Yujito's face turned redder from both embarrassment and anger. She kept on falling for Fu's constant mind games that mysteriously always involved Naruto. It was making her think of her blonde comrade more than normal, and the thought of him possibly taking an interest in her didn't seem that bad at all. Maybe this will turn out just right, she thought as she gave herself one last glance at the mirror, smiling. Little did she know that tomorrow night would be very far from right. The evening of the festival came around the next day, and Naruto found himself getting dressed in the outfit Shibuki had brought him. It consisted of a black long-sleeve top that's cuffs and edges had blue flames imprinted. It also formed a small v-neck where it was folded, exposing some of his mesh shirt underneath with the Shodai's necklace proudly in view. The pants were similar to his orange ones other than being black and also having blue flames imprinted on the ankles. Naruto put on his black sandals and wrapped his kunai holster around his leg, then went into the bathroom to see how he looked. Without his head protector, his hair hung lower. Since it hadn't been cut in a while, he was starting to look more like the fourth. Examining the rest of his new look, he realized it wasn't that bad, a bit different from his usual colors, but it was a nice change. After brushing his teeth, Naruto glanced at the clock. It was 4:15. He was supposed to meet up with Yujito, Fu, and Shibuki in 15 minutes, so he left his temporary home and made his way towards the meeting spot. When he arrived, he noticed he was the first to arrive. After a few minutes, Shibuki was the next to arrive. Hey, Naruto, he greeted, walking up to the blonde. Hey. Now we just need the girls to get here, replied Naruto as Shibuki joined him. Looks like they are already here, said Shibuki, pointing behind Naruto. Naruto turned around, spotting them, and instantly started waving. Then a second later his mind finally registered something different. More specifically, something different with Yujito. The moment he noticed her, and what she was wearing, his jaw dropped. Sure, he knew she was pretty, but apparently she hid a lot of it with her past tomboyish clothing. But now he realized pretty was a major understatement. This girl walking in front of him was a goddess in his mind. Yujito makes Sakura-chan look ugly. Yujito could be compared to a tomato at the moment. She was hoping to get a reaction out of him, but she didn't expect for him to be this shocked by her. Is it because I look weird? I've never worn anything like this before. Shibuki was the first to speak. Glad you two lovely ladies could join us, he said as he put his arm around Fu and gave her a quick peck on the cheek. Naruto then realized he was still spacing out over Yujito. Say something, he screamed in his head. Why you look amazing, Yujito? He stuttered out. Great, I'm turning into Hinata now. Yujito was starting to doubt this was such a good idea when Naruto wasn't saying anything, but that thought instantly vanished after his comment, which caused her to blush harder. Thank you, she too stuttered as she looked at the ground nervously as she cursed her lack of experience with these types of things. Fu was smirking as she watched the interaction. The obvious nervousness between them was both funny and cute. Shibuki decided to help the two out. Well, why don't we get going? Don't want to miss out on anything now, he said as the other three nodded and they all proceeded into the heart of the festival. They walked around talking for a while, checking out everything that was going on. They had everything a normal festival had, including all kinds of food, games, music, but also some unique things too. Such as various ninja-related competitions and even a few sparring areas where a good deal of people were gathered to watch some fights and occasionally betting. All in all, everything was indeed oriented around shinobi. Fu then started pulling Shibuki off somewhere. Shibuki-kun has something that he needs to do. Have fun, you two! She shouted back at Yujito and Naruto as she and her fiancé disappeared into the crowd. You're right, she's just trying to get something to happen between us, thought Yujito, as she watched the retreating back of her female friend. Then the present dawned on her. We're alone now. Is this considered like a D-date? Naruto was having similar thoughts. Oh shit, this just became a date when those two left, right? He then glanced over at Yujito and quickly back. Nah, there's no way. As she's so hot she could have any guy she wanted. If I couldn't even get Sakura-chan to like me, there's no way Yujito could ever like me that way. Well, I gotta do something, he thought, looking back again at Yujito. Hey, do you want to play any of the games here? He asked her. She looked at him and nodded nervously. Let's go then, he said in his usual happy tone to try to ease the mood a bit. He noticed how nervous she was, probably embarrassed to be with me right now. Traveling and training is one thing, alone together being dressed up at a festival is totally different. Soon they came across a kunai throwing game. From the looks of it, it didn't seem difficult at all, an academy exercise if anything. Naruto and Yujito walked up to the booth. So all we gotta do here is hit that target with a kunai? Questioned Naruto, pointing at the target in the distance. The man running the shop answered, yup, but it has to stay. If you don't throw it hard enough you won't be getting one in that target. Yujito noticed that there wasn't anyone else attempting this one, and wondered why since it seemed simple enough. She could only think of one reason and leaned over to Naruto. I think this one might be rigged somehow. Everyone else is staying away, she warned. Don't worry. I'll get it. He boasted and paid the fee while the owner smirked. Naruto threw one kunai and it hit dead center but bounced right off the target, making the owner smirk more and Yujito frown. Hell, whatever that target is made of, it sure is hard. Good thing I know how to get around that, he thought as he took out a second kunai and focused a little bit of wind chakra into the blade and threw it. The owner continued smirking until the kunai hit, or more accurately went straight through the rock dead center. The owner's jaw was hanging while Naruto was smiling triumphantly. Yujito smiled. That's probably one of the only ways to win here. This guy probably never expected someone with a wind affinity to be wandering around here. Naruto then began to look through the prizes he could choose from, and his eyes immediately found the perfect item, a black, green-eyed Nikomata plushie. Naruto instantly asked for it, and once the owner reluctantly handed it to him, Naruto turned around and handed it to Yujito. I think you'll like this one. I couldn't resist, he said, Naruto smiling, causing Yujito to blush from both the thoughtful item and his cute smile. See, cute? Damn it, okay, maybe I am starting to like him just a little, she thought as she took the plushie. Thank you, Naruto, she said, giving him a smile in return, causing now him to blush. They continued walking around enjoying themselves until Yujito caught sight of a hand seal competition. They approached the group of people running it and asked about it. So you're interested in the competition? Luckily for you we got one spot left. It's yours if you want it, informed one of the men. Yeah, I'll compete, replied Yujito. Alright then, just give me your hand and I'll put the seal on you, said the man as Yujito complied. He then opened a scroll and did a few hand seals. Afterwards a seal appeared on Yujito's hand. Now just head over to booth number 34 and we'll get started. Yujito and Naruto then went over to the assigned booth where Yujito stepped up to the plate and put the Nikomata plushie in a ceiling scroll. Naruto stood behind her as there were quite a few people watching this one. 34 competitors all stood facing a large screen. They then noticed a man walk right underneath it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the adult hand seal competition. These 34 contestants will race through the hand seals displayed on this screen here. Once all 150 hand seals have been completed, the seals placed on the contestant's hands will morph into a number according to what place he or she has ranked. First place gets a $200 gift certificate to be used anywhere in the festival, informed the man. Good luck, Yujito, cheered Naruto from behind her. I got this, no problem, she replied with a smile. Contestants, get ready, shouted the man. The competition will start, and the hand seals will be shown right after the countdown on the screen. All the contestants readied themselves and the screen flashed 5 and began to count down. Right after the screen flashed when the long list of the hand seal order was shown and all the contestants started blazing through them, while the crowd cheered. Naruto watched Yujito. He wanted to cheer her on, but this required not only speed but concentration, and he didn't want to cause her to slip. He noted that this wasn't going to last long, but the suspense made it seem a lot longer. Suddenly, after 15 seconds, one of the contestants started cheering and the crowd looked at him. Naruto's heart sank a little, thinking Yujito didn't win, but immediately after the cheer the guy started yelling curses. As it turned out, in his speed he must have misread some of the seals. Right after the cheers died at 19 seconds, the seal on Yujito's hand changed to the number 1, and instantly, to Naruto's great shock as well as her own, turned around and gave Naruto a bone-crushing hug, yelling she won. After a couple moments, Yujito's eyes shot open wide, realizing what she was doing, and jumped back as her face heated up. Naruto, noticing what she did, knew he had to say something before it got awkward. That was awesome, Yujito. Your hands were a complete blur to me. This only seemed to make her redder. Damn, I can't stop it. Congratulations, ma'am. Here's your certificate, said the man who was running the event as he handed Yujito her reward. Yujito thanked the man and looked down at the card, then back up to Naruto. Want to go have dinner? She asked. Sure. What she would get, he pondered, then suddenly they both turned towards each other, uttering one word simultaneously: ramen. They found a ramen bar and nearly spent all of Yujito's winnings between themselves. It was now dark out, and just as they were told, the moon was very bright. As they were leaving, they ran into Fu. Hey, you two, enjoying yourselves? Asked Fu as she winked at Yujito. Yeah, we are. This festival is a lot cooler than any of the ones I've seen before, replied Naruto. Yujito noticed something missing. Where's Shibuki? She asked. That's who I'm looking for. He was called to his office for something a while back but hasn't returned. I'm just heading there to check on him, said Fu. By the way, you two should head down to the lake, she said, giggling. Huh, why? Asked Naruto, confused. Oh, you'll see, she replied, still giggling as she took off towards Shibuki's office. Well, I guess we should go to the lake then, huh? Asked Naruto, looking over at Yujito. Sure, she replied, but she had a feeling something was up, and it wasn't the obvious way Fu mentioned the lake. As they came into view of the lake, they both became shocked. The lake was very picturesque, the way the bright moonlight was reflecting off the lake's surface. There was also soft music being played over the entire portion of the lake in front of them. But these things weren't what really caught their attention. On top of the lake, people were dancing, not just normal people. They were obviously shinobi in order to be able to do this, but they were all couples. The atmosphere made the two Jinchuriki get extremely nervous. Damn that Fu! It's beautiful, but Naruto wouldn't ask me to dance. Hell, I don't even know how to dance. Yujito screamed in her head as she began to hyperventilate. Oh fuck, what should I do? What should I do? There's no way I can ask her to dance, right? I mean, I already established that she's out of my league, but Erosenin said to live without regrets, right? I would probably regret not doing this. Maybe she would want to. I mean, she hasn't pulled me out of here yet. He glanced at her, and she seemed to be thinking as well. This silence is so awkward. Here goes nothing. Why, Yujito? Stuttered Naruto, as he mentally berated himself for pulling another Hinata. Why, yes? She replied, also stuttering. Is he really going to ask me? Would why you like to dance? He asked, hoping to God that he didn't just mess up. Yujito's eyes widened. Why, yes. Yes, I would, she replied. She said yes. Naruto was doing flips in his mind, much to the annoyance of Kyubi. Come on, let's go, he said as he grabbed Yujito's hand and led them towards the water. As they reached the area where the other couples were dancing, Naruto thought of something. Wait, I don't know how to dance. starting to panic again. He noticed that it was just slow dancing, thank God. They both came to a stop and faced each other, blushing as Naruto slowly rested his hands on her waist, while she locked her arms around his neck equally as slowly. They then slowly started swaying around the lake, both being very careful to not step on the other's feet. A few weeks ago I never would have imagined myself doing something like this, said Yujito quietly as they moved around the lake. You haven't danced with a guy before? Questioned Naruto, who wouldn't want to dance with her. And no, men in the cloud just wanted me so they can brag about having the demon bitch as their own. Hearing her say that, Naruto instinctively pulled her closer, causing her face to flush for the millionth time that day. I don't want to hear that again. You're far from that name. In fact, you're one of the most beautiful girls I know, Yujito. Yujito's head quickly shot up at hearing this, and saw that he had a genuine smile on his face, and his eyes were telling the truth. Small tears started to form at the corners of her eyes as a smile formed on her face, and she rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat quickening. Thank you, she whispered. Just then fireworks started going off, lighting up the sky in all kinds of gorgeous colors. Everyone stared in awe at the beauty as some of the projectiles turned into animals in the sky. Yujito thought this scene couldn't be more perfect. This is so nice, thank you so much, Naruto-kun, she said in her head as she kept her head on his chest as they enjoyed the moment. However, nobody noticed the object flying around in the sky hidden by the bright colors. Finally, some people who appreciate my art, yeah. Hey Yujito, Naruto whispered to the goddess pressed against his chest, causing her to look up. Deidara kept circling overhead. Well, there's the Kyuubi and Nibi. Sasori-senpai probably will be finishing up soon with the third one. I'll start off with C1. Yeah, he then created 2 homing birds and launched them towards the 2 Jinchuriki. What is it, Naruto-kun? Asked Yujito, not realizing she just added kun to Naruto's name. Naruto blushed but started slowly. I think he started stuttering out when he felt something off, and both of their eyes widened, immediately jumping away. Katsu! The area they were just standing in exploded. They both just barely caught sight of the 2 objects that flew down upon them. The explosion caught everyone's attention. Just then a large explosion went off at the base of the large tree. The resident waterfall ninjas who were taking part in the festival immediately headed towards the tree, since it was a sacred place to them and inside held many of the village's secrets. Looks like they escaped that one, said Deidara to himself, looking down at the 2 Jinchuriki. I'll lead them towards the village more. It'll be harder for them to detect my art that way. He then started to fly towards the village center, slowly making sure the 2 followed. Naruto! Up there! Shouted Yujito, pointing at the bird flying towards the village with what appeared to be a man on its back. Naruto looked up at where she was pointing. Shit, it's Akatsuki. He's flying towards the village. Is he going to try to involve the village in this? He shouted in his head. Yujito, come on. We gotta stop him, he said as Yujito nodded and both took off towards the Akatsuki member. Why did these bastards have to show up? Can't they just leave us be? Yujito was screaming in her head. Truthfully, she was terrified at the moment. The last encounter was still very visible in her mind, but now she had a taste of a somewhat normal life and had made friends. I don't want to lose this. Naruto noticed Yujito seemed very pensive. Yujito, it'll be alright. We knew that we have to deal with these guys sooner or later, but I promise you, I won't let anything happen to either of us. Some of Yujito's fear was removed, but this was real. I hope you're right. They both arrived in the center of the village where Deidara started circling above. Shit, this really isn't good. If he can attack us from up there, me and Yujito are both close-range types, thought Naruto, as he realized they were at a huge disadvantage. He noticed that there were still a few civilians around that ran inside their homes. Everyone here is at a huge risk, curse this bastard. Good, they're here. Let's see how they deal with these, thought Deidara as he held a bunch of various C1 insects in his hand and threw them down onto the Jinchuriki. Damn, all those explode too, thought Yujito. Naruto held out his hands as a gust of wind shot out and detonated some of the explosives, causing a chain reaction. Nice one, Naruto, thought Yujito. Wind type, eh? He seems pretty good with it too, in order for him to use it like that. If he can control the wind, then direct attacks won't be able to reach him through the area, thought Deidara, eating some clay with his hands. I'll just have to trap them. He then threw another assortment of explosives, some centipedes that buried themselves in the ground, as well as some squirrels and cats that scattered around the village. Catching on to what he was doing, Naruto shouted over to Yujito, Yujito, make shadow clones so he can't determine the real US. He then made shadow clones of himself and scattered them. Yujito, also seeing this, nodded and made her own platoon of clones. Heh, Even if they do that, they can't avoid my art forever. They still can't hit me up here, ya, thought Deidara, creating more homing birds. Throughout the village, constant explosions and shadow clones being dispelled could be heard as Deidara ate away at their numbers. This may take a while, yeah. Sasori will definitely be mad, he joked, smirking at the thought. The real Naruto grabbed one of Yujito's clones and yanked it into a building. We need to come up with a counter. If this goes on, we'll definitely lose, he told it. The clone nodded. Do you have any ideas? Yeah, it'll be risky, but it's our only option, said Naruto as he began to inform Yujito of the plan. Once he was done, the clone dispelled so the real Yujito would be informed. Deidara continued to circle around. There's about half of them left. These two aren't too impressive, he said to himself as he continued to assault the duo with explosives. Still, that Kyuubi kid did manage to take down Haiden and Kakuzuya. Deidara then noticed from above that the majority of the clones were focused near the center of the village again. That's not very smart in this situation, yet, he thought as he turned the bird around with some more homing birds ready. The real Naruto and Yujito saw him approaching. He was taking the bait. They were currently hidden on a roof in the path of Deidara. Right as he passed overhead, Yujito went through some hand seals for Katan, Carrier Enden, and Naruto used his futon, Kaze Bakuha, resulting in an enormous wave of fire that shot out towards Deidara right after he launched his birds. Shit, thought Deidara as he saw what just transpired behind him. He quickly pulled up and managed to avoid the flame. That was a close one, ye damn. He noticed another Naruto right in front of him on a roof just as he threw a raisin shuriken at him. The bird quickly barrel rolled out of the way and pulled up higher into the sky. Fuck! Naruto yelled in his head. He was just about completely out of chakra now after that. Damn it! We almost had him. Yujito thought, also knowing that Naruto would be out of it now. Deidara sighed. That was way too close, yet he looked down using his binocular to get a better look at his targets, and noticed the Kyuubi Jinchuriki breathing heavily. Must have used up all his chakra after, yeah. Looks like this is your limit, Kyuubi, shouted Deidara down at Naruto, who was looking up at him angrily but didn't know that Deidara's thoughts just got interrupted by someone. Shit, was I really here that long? He muttered, then looked down at the Jinchuriki. Consider yourselves lucky. I got another matter to attend to, but I'll give you guys a going away present, yeah. Since this village was so appreciative of my art, I'll introduce them to my C3, yeah. He then held out a single odd-looking explosive. Behold the true beauty of my art, he shouted, dropping the object as it transformed into the size of a small house. Is that thing going to explode? Said Yujito to herself as Naruto jumped down in front of her, looking completely exhausted. Naruto! She shouted as he collapsed from exhaustion. I have to get us out of here or we're dead. She then did the only thing she could think of, which is draw on Nibi's power. Having good control over her Biju, she darted off away from the incoming blast site, carrying the unconscious Naruto. You won't get away that easily. Now you can see that my art is a blast. Katsu! Yelled Deidara as the bomb detonated right above the village. The ground shook as the blast grew and quickly was gaining on Yujito. Just as the blast reached them, she reached the cave they entered the village from and quickly jumped in, falling down with Naruto just missing the blast. They plunged through the pond of water on the floor as the blast above destroyed the exit. Yujito, recovering from the fall, quickly grabbed Naruto and brought him to the surface of the water and over to the edge of the pond. Checking him, she made sure he was still fine. Just unconscious. Thank God. I don't know what I'd do if I lost you, Naruto, she said as she clung to his body. She then noticed the no longer existing exit above them. If the blast reached that far, then the village, realizing what must have happened, she started crying. Why did this happen? After a few minutes, Naruto started to stir. As his eyes opened, he noticed wherever he was it was very dark. He then began to sit up. Naruto! Shouted who he realized was Yujito, as she quickly gave him a firm embrace, being glad that he was okay. It's alright, I'm okay, see? He said, wrapping an arm around Yujito to comfort her. Where are we? What happened to that Akatsuki? He questioned, looking around hoping to recognize something in the dark room. She slowly pulled away. I think she tried to stutter out but failed miserably. Naruto looked at her questioningly, since she's never stuttered like this. What is it? He what? I think he destroyed the village, Naruto, she said, finally getting it out. What? Shouted Naruto, shocked. How could that guy destroy the entire village? What about their shinobi? After you tried to hit him with your raisin shuriken, you passed out. Then he said something about having to leave, and then created another bomb, but one big enough that it destroyed the village, I think, she informed. But what about the other shinobi? What about Shibuki and Fu? Where are we? He continued questioning. We are in the cave we went through to reach the village. That's how far that guy's blast when it destroyed the exit above us, she replied, pointing up as Naruto's eyes widened, realizing what size of a blast it would have taken to do that. As for Shibuki and Fu, I don't know, said Yujito sadly. From what they knew, Akatsuki moved in pairs of two. They only saw one guy, so his partner had to have been close by, or why you don't think? Naruto slammed his fists into the ground. Damn it. Of course. Remember Fu said Shibuki left and never came back for a long time? I make you a bet that it was that Akatsuki's partner's doing to lure Fu into a trap. Yujito looked down sadly. If that's true and they got her, then we have no way of tracking her down. Either of us are tracking types, and we have no clue what direction they could be heading in. Why does this always have to happen? I hate them. Even if we could track them, I don't think we could do anything to them either, said Naruto, frustrated, truly hating something for the first time in his life. Yujito looked up at the exit. With that blocked off, we have no way of getting back into the village. It would only be a fool's hope that the village isn't razed to the ground right now, she thought as she then turned to Naruto. We need to get out of here, Naruto. They most likely know where we are and will send more after us if we linger here much longer. I know, I just wish there was something that we could do, he said, slowly getting up onto his feet. Our only option now is to run. We can then train more, and that way we can avenge Fu, replied Yujito, also getting up. Naruto shook his head. No, I refuse to act on vengeance. I've seen it firsthand how it can destroy someone. Yujito looked at him confused. Then what? We keep running from them for the rest of our lives? I'm not going to lie, Yujito. I hate them so much right now. I want to get stronger and kill them, but not out of revenge. Revenge won't bring her back. I'll do it to stop it from happening again. To protect those most precious to me, I'll do it to protect you, Yujito, he said, managing to give her a heartwarming smile. Yujito instantly blushed at his declaration and was thankful that the cave was too dark for him to tell. However, somehow in light of the situation, he once again seemed to get a rise out of her spirit. I'll get stronger for the same reason, and then that way we can protect each other. He continued, holding his smile as he listened to her, and then nodded. I like the sound of that. Now let's get out of here, shall we? He said as they both dived into the pond and swam through the passage to the other side. A few hours later, somewhere outside Takigakure. Let's begin the extraction, said a figure atop the right thumb of Geto Mazo. The Kyubi and Nibi are moving away from the ruins of Takigakure, informed Zetsu. Ruins, eh? Questioned Kisame. Deidara blew up the village, replied Zetsu. That village was rather artistic. My art only enhanced its beauty, yes, said Deidara proudly. But you took too long and ended up failing in capturing your Jinchuriki, and nearly killed them, said Sasori, reprimanding his partner. The Kyubi can wait. After this I'll look into reconfiguring the statue so that we can focus on the other Jinchuriki first. No matter what, the Kyubi has to be sealed last, said Pain. That Kyubi kid is starting to become a troublesome target, said Kisame as more of a statement than a question. We will need the Nibi before him. With 7 of us it'll take almost 5 days to finish extracting the Nanabai. Itachi, Kisame, I want you both to hunt them down. Itachi's Genjutsu will be ideal against those two, said Pain. Which way are they heading now? Asked Kisame. They are moving towards the border of Earth Country, replied Zetsu. While Itachi and Kisame are hunting the Nibi, Deidara and Sasori go hunt the Rokubi, ordered Pain. Within the year, we'll have peace. 2 days later. What the? Said Jiraiya as he looked up at the blocked-off entrance to Takigakure. They would only block it off in case of an emergency. They've never been invaded in any of the wars because this was the only way in and out of the village, and it was easy to block off like so. But why is it now? He thought. I guess I have no choice but to go ask around in a nearby town, he said to himself as he exited the cave. Next day in a nearby village. What? Yelled Jiraiya after a traveler just said that there's a rumor going around that Takigakure was destroyed and that some people heard and felt a large explosion from its direction. Jiraiya at the moment did not know what to think. How could the entire village be destroyed? It's never been breached by an enemy, let alone an army capable of taking out the entire village, though he's learned one word that can explain literally anything this absurd, and that is Akatsuki. He quickly summoned a frog to carry a message to Tsunade about what he's found out. The trip back to Konoha as well as the guaranteed beating he would get upon arrival was something he wanted to avoid. Most importantly, he needed to gather more information on anything related to what happened in order to try to find his long-lost apprentice. 3 more days later. Tsunade's hands were currently trembling as she held onto the scroll she just received from Jiraiya's frog. What's wrong, Shirsho? Asked Sakura as she watched the uncharacteristic fear present in Tsunade's eyes, which worried her greatly. It's nothing, Sakura. Don't worry about it, responded Tsunade. The entire village destroyed? That must be why the messenger bird we sent returned with the same message. I know grandfather gave the nanobite to Takigakure as a peace offering. That would be 3 Jinchuriki in one spot. I'm positive it's Akatsuki. But please, please don't tell me they got you Naruto. 2 months later. The last 2 months had been a nerve-wracking hell for both Tsunade and Jiraiya. 2 months without any news or anything about Naruto. It was almost as if he completely vanished. Not even the frogs in Myobokuzen knew of where he could be. However, somewhere in the woods of Earth Country, both Naruto and Yujito could be found walking in the direction of Iwagakure, which was still a day away from their current position. You know, I really don't feel too safe about going to Iwa. Your old village may have been allied with them, but they hate mine, said Naruto as they continued walking. Don't be such a chicken, you were enemies with Kumo, but you and Jiraiya were able to waltz around the village, replied Yujito, rolling her eyes. But that's just it, I was with Ero Sennin. He has a reputation, you know, nobody wanted to mess with him. We are just 2 random ninja from an unfriendly village now. Oh, is the big bad fox afraid of a little village without his perverted guardian? Teased Yujito playfully. Yujito whined Naruto as they continued playfully bickering with each other. But as they continued walking, they were spotted by a pair of wide eyes belonging to a rock ninja, that blonde kid. See, could he be related to, thought the man. He was a well-seasoned veteran of the previous wars, one of the few to survive a confrontation with the Yellow Flash. After the war, the Rock kept some close tabs on the man and had come across some rumors that he had a girlfriend who was pregnant. Anything further seemed to become a well-guarded secret after the Yellow Flash's death. But this boy in front of him, bright blonde hair, blue eyes, the right age, from Konoha, it was too much of a coincidence for the Rock Ninja to accept. Kit, there's another host near you, informed Kyubi, interrupting the 2 Jinchurikis arguing. During the 2 months of training Naruto and Yujito went through, she taught him how to better work in sync with Kyubi, since she was pretty good herself with Nibi. Yujito? Naruto asked questioningly, looking at her to confirm whether or not she got the same message as he did. She nodded in return as they both stopped walking. Naruto turned around and shouted, "Come out! We know you're there!" Slowly an older man came out from behind a tree. He had fiery red hair held in a high ponytail and an oddly shaped brown IWA forehead protector. You kids are pretty good to have noticed me, or was it because of the beast inside, I wonder, said the man. So the boy has the Kyubi. The Yellow Flash was the one to defeat that thing. Without a doubt he had truly sealed it inside his own son. Other than being another host, what do you want? Questioned Yujito. She was all for making friends, especially with others who possessed the same burden, but this man had a very unpleasant aura around him. He slowly raised his hand and pointed his finger towards Naruto. I want his head, he said, confusing the 2 in front of him. Why me? I don't even know who you are, replied Naruto, trying to think of why this man would want him dead. Revenge, he said angrily. Revenge for my 2 brothers and my father who were slain by your father during the last great war, he finished. My father? I don't even know who my father is, responded Naruto. This man had to be crazy. How could he of all people know who his father was? The man studied the boy's face and realized he truly didn't know who his father was. He smirked. He would get to drop the bomb on the kid and kill him as well. He couldn't get more lucky than this. I find it amusing you don't know. However, I'll humor you with that information before I kill you, he said mockingly, causing Naruto to frown. Your father was Konoha's Yellow Flash, your 4th Hokage. Naruto's glare instantly disappeared at that. How could that be true? You lie. I would have been told if it were true, claimed Naruto. The IWA ninja's smirk grew. Oh? You never found it strange how you have the same hair color, same eye color, you're the splitting image of the man aside from those whisker marks. Not only that, as Hokage, who else would he have chosen to seal the Kyubi into? Certainly not another family's child, no. Naruto's world was starting to turn upside down. How can that be possible? If he was my father, wouldn't anybody have told me? If he was, wouldn't I have been taken care of better when I was younger? It just couldn't be true. But Naruto knew that it answered everything. Why he did look so much like the 4th, and why he would have been chosen as the container like this man said. Also, it would explain why he never knew his father if he indeed died sealing Kyubi into him. Also the reason why Ero Sennin trained him and taught him the 4th jutsu. Surely there were others who would have been better candidates than he was. Naruto then dropped to his knees. He was just too confused right now. His father had to be the 4th, but that meant his own father had cursed him, but he also knew that it was his duty as Hokage as well, so he couldn't hate him for that. Yujito kneeled next to Naruto, holding him, per Naruto, to find something like that out, especially from this man no less. You have no idea how much I'm enjoying this, watching the child of the man who killed my family breaking, said the man, chuckling. Now time for the best part. I, Rashi, shall avenge my family and kill you. Namikaze, he left the question hanging. Naruto's eyes refocused and glared at Rashi. Naruto Namikaze Naruto. Darn, and here I was hoping you would deny it, he shouted as he flew through some hand seals. Time to die. However, before he could finish his jutsu, a large tidal wave broke through the area out of nowhere, surprising the three Jinchuriki. Can't let that happen now, can we? Shouted a voice as a man appeared on the crest of the wave right as it reached the trio, as the newcomer slammed his enormous sword into the stomach of Rashi, sending him flying deeper into the woods. Recovering from his shock, Naruto instantly recognized who just arrived from a past encounter. Kisame. Just then another person jumped out of a tree onto the now flooded surface of the forest. It's been a long time, Naruto-kun greeted Itachi. Uchiha Itachi, growled out Naruto. Yujito recognized the name from when Naruto had explained to her about the few Akatsuki members that he was familiar with. Itachi-san, I'll let you handle these two while I go after the Yambi, said Kisame as he took off in the direction he had launched Rashi in. It appears you're taking the news of your heritage quite well, said Itachi emotionlessly. He had already casted his genjutsu on the two. Your illusions won't work this time, Itachi, shouted Naruto from Itachi's side as he prepared to hit him with a Rasengan. But as soon as it made contact, Itachi burst into water. Mizubunshin, thought Naruto as he looked around for the real one. Itachi was a bit taken back by that little skirmish. How did he get out of the illusion? Surely his genjutsu skills haven't improved much, or at all, since last time his thoughts were cut short when three Yujitos leapt towards him with kunai. He quickly jumped off the branch he was hiding on and in a flash used Katon Gokaku no Jutsu, destroying the Kagebunshin with the flame. He then landed back on the water down below. They seemed to have good teamwork too, he thought as the two appeared in front of him. No matter how much either of you improve, only someone with the same eyes as mine can defeat me, stated Itachi, still looking at them without any emotion. He then closed his eyes and reopened them, instantly catching Naruto and Tsukuyomi. Naruto looked around and realized he was chained to a cross. He then noticed Itachi was right below him. I don't know how you got out of my last illusion, but this one nobody can escape from, said Itachi. Naruto's eyes widened. Kyuubi, quick! Stop my chakra flow! Instantly Naruto found himself back in the real world with a very shocked Itachi in front of him. How, he muttered, glaring at the two Jinchuriki. Naruto smirked. Like I said before, your illusions won't work this time, Itachi. Yujito did a few hand seals and shouted, Raiden, Ikazuchi Hakai, as she slammed her hands onto the ground, causing a large triangular-shaped lightning bolt to rip through the ground heading towards Itachi. Itachi quickly jumped into the air to avoid the Raiden jutsu and focused his eyes on Naruto. Naruto, seeing this, immediately slammed his hands together. Futon, Kaze Heki. Fierce winds started to spin around Naruto like a tornado as the wind transformed into the black flames of Amaterasu. The winds died down as the area around Naruto burned with the black flames. He blocked Amaterasu with a Futon jutsu, thought Itachi, shocked once again by the Jinchuriki. I see, by creating a tornado around him he didn't block Amaterasu but instead used the winds to pull Amaterasu safely around him without getting touched, he realized as he landed. Raiten, Shirchu Shirbari, shouted Yujito as four pillars surrounded Itachi as soon as he landed. Before Itachi could react, the four pillars shot bolts of lightning at him, binding him in place. Itachi then realized that in this situation this jutsu prevented him from moving at all. He was trapped. You understand what'll happen if you kill me, right, Naruto? Said Itachi as he stared at the boy. I do, replied Naruto quietly. He fully understood the consequences of killing Itachi. Then are you really going to do it? Asked Itachi, hoping that he could get a rise out of Naruto for him to slip. If we let you live, nothing changes. If I were to kill you now, we'll still have to watch our backs, he replied as he created a Futon, Kaze no Yaiba, a sword made of wind, on his right hand. His eyes will surpass mine, between him and the rest of Akatsuki. Are you sure you want this? Asked Itachi again. Naruto stepped up to the lightning prison. Like I said, he thrusted the Kaze no Yaiba into Itachi's chest. It changes nothing, he muttered as the life in Itachi faded away. The prison retracting back into the ground as Itachi's lifeless body fell. Yujito stepped up next to Naruto. What were you both talking about? Questioned Yujito, not wanting to be out of the loop. Itachi's younger brother Sasuke, he muttered. Sasuke's goal in life was to get revenge and kill Itachi. Now that Itachi's dead, he'll most likely target myself now for taking that away from him. I see, said Yujito, now understanding more of why Naruto is always so against revenge. So what you meant by it doesn't change anything was that if you let Itachi live, he would only come after you again for Kyuubi. But if he died, then instead of him, Sasuke would come after you, she said. Exactly, No matter what I did, one of them would constantly be around to torment us, he replied. He didn't want to make an enemy out of Sasuke, but he would have been risking too much by letting Itachi live. Yujito looked down at the fallen Uchiha. This is a dangerous corpse, what should we do? I'll seal the corpse up and send it back to Konoha, he said as he got a small jar out of his pack of supplies and kneeled down to Itachi. What are you doing? Asked Yujito, puzzled. I'm going to remove his eyes, as you said this is a dangerous corpse mainly because of his eyes. If the corpse was somehow intercepted or stolen, these eyes could be very dangerous in the wrong hands, he replied. He knew briefly from Jiraiya about Danzo and the Root Division. He knew there would be a good chance that the man would try to get his hands on them. He plucked out Itachi's eyes and placed them in the jar. He went through Itachi's equipment and found a note of what seemed to be some type of contacts. He placed it in his pocket as he then proceeded to seal the corpse in a scroll. Kuchios no Jutsu, he shouted as a small messenger frog appeared. He quickly wrote a quick note to Tsunade and strapped both the note and scroll to the frog as it leaped away. Kuchios no Jutsu, he shouted again as this time appeared Gamakichi. Yo bro! Everyone's been looking for ya, greeted the large frog. Hey Gamakichi, I had some stuff I needed to do. I need you to contact Erosenin and tell him to meet me at the village Jabori in Tea Country a week from now. Also tell them that Itachi is dead and that I sent the corpse to Tsunade, explained Naruto. Gotcha, replied Gamakichi with his thumb up as he poofed away. Tea Country? Why there? Asked Yujito. The note I found on Itachi had a list of contacts. I don't know why he would keep them written down like that, but it may give us information on Akatsuki. Erosenin is pretty skilled at this type of stuff, so I just needed to pick a spot I'm familiar with, replied Naruto. We better get moving. Kisame seems to still be fighting that IWA Jinchuriki, and I don't really want to run into either of them again right now, he said as they took off away from the area. Naruto, this isn't exactly the direction of the Tea Country, said Yujito, noticing that their path was a bit off. After finding out that my father is a bigger enemy to the rock than Konoha itself, I'd rather get out of this entire country as soon as I can, he replied, scratching the back of his head. Well, I guess I can't call you a chicken for it anymore since you actually have a valid excuse now, huh? Joked Yujito. I had a valid excuse before too. She rolled her eyes at him. She actually enjoyed their lame arguments. So what do you plan to do now with Itachi's eyes? I'm not sure. Heikit said, a well-known voice within Naruto's head as both he and Yujito continued traveling through the woods towards Jabori in Tea Country. What do you need now, furball? Responded Naruto, getting more and more annoyed by his tenant's ever more frequent rants inside his head. Don't give me any attitude, brat. I was going to inform you on some things I know you are going to be interested to hear about. Naruto sighed, then inform me. It's not like you weren't going to anyway, replied Naruto, knowing that if the Kyuubi really had important information then he wouldn't keep it from Naruto since it could end both of their lives, which is something the Kyuubi wouldn't look forward to. Ungrateful brat. Anyways, it concerns those eyes you are carrying, said Kyuubi, knowing some things about them that he knew his host would want to hear, especially since it concerns a use for them, which is also something Naruto hasn't been able to figure out yet. Naruto glanced down at his right pocket, which contained the feared eyes of Itachi. I didn't think you would know anything about them. Actually, I know quite a bit. One of these things is a use for them. Naruto drew in a breath. He knew whatever it was that the giant fur ball was going to say would be insane like usual. What do you suggest? After saying that, Naruto could feel the fox grinning in his head. To implant them into yourself. Naruto's mind shut down for a moment. What the hell was the Kyuubi thinking? Are you crazy? Scratch that, I know you are. What makes you think I would even consider that? You would be more crazy by saying no. Explain. I know you haven't figured out something to do with them, and not only would you yourself gain the powers of the Sharingan, but by wielding them yourself you would be able to make sure nobody else gets them. Apart from keeping it away from the wrong hands, what makes you think I want to have the Sharingan's powers? I would be just like Sasuke then, giving a part of me up just for power, replied Naruto. How would it make you feel if you had to go up against someone like Uchiha Madara without the advantage of the Sharingan? Madara? Wasn't he like the old leader of the Uchiha clan when Konoha was first built? Like I'd ever have to fight him. You will, trust me on that one. He would be like 100 years old. No way would I have to fight him. Even so, what would he do? Crack his back and throw a walking stick at me? No, he would kill you. I know this because he was the reason I attacked Konoha all those years ago. He was the one who summoned me and is most likely the leader of Akatsuki. Naruto felt his heart stop. Uchiha Madara was still alive. Naruto was never good at history, but it's hard to not know Madara's name since he seemed to be in every spooky story ever told in Konoha when he was a kid. That man who was also strong enough to fight the Shodaime evenly as well as powerful enough to summon Kyuubi was still alive. That man was the leader of the Jinchuriki hunting squad known as Akatsuki. If Naruto managed to survive more Akatsuki, sooner or later he would come after him. Instead, the only coherent thing Naruto could think of at the moment was shit. Yes, shit is right, Kit. That man would make Itachi look like that Konohamaru kid when he attempted to attack the Sandaime. But you would stand a much greater chance with the Sharingan. I don't know. Kit, I know you want to save everyone your own way, but this isn't your normal shinobi you're up against. This is someone who could take on all the Kages at once and win. You can't play by the rules this time or everyone you know will die, including your vixen over there, whom by the way, Madara is after as well. But isn't there risks to using the Mangekyo Sharingan? Questioned Naruto. Kyuubi's grin grew bigger. The kid already decided what he would choose and he didn't even realize it yet. Normally there would be drawbacks, but when you implant a Mangekyo Sharingan into another person's body, then the eye evolves into an eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Your eyes would never fade. Naruto let the info sink into his head. This is a huge choice to make with consequences he couldn't even comprehend yet. Also, because of my healing powers, I could adapt your body to be able to wield the Sharingan as if you were truly an Uchiha by imprinting the genetic coding for Sharingan into your own DNA. Naruto continued thinking until a light bulb went off in his head. If you could do all that, then couldn't I use just one eye and with you copying the DNA or whatever make both my eyes into Sharingans? Kyuubi wondered where the kid was going with this. I should be able to, but why wouldn't you just use both? Naruto smirked. Would Nibi be able to do the same thing? As you said, I'm not the only one Madara is after. Kyuubi was shocked. His host actually came up with a pretty good plan outside of a battle. Yes, Nibi should be able to do the same with the girl. Well, that's good to know. I'll think about it more though, replied Naruto. He had to make sure it would be the right choice. Miles northeast of the hidden sand. Jiraiya was currently heading towards Suna in hopes of discovering some information concerning the whereabouts of his trouble-making apprentice. It had been months since Takigaku's fall and not even his research was able to fish in anything on the blonde. So he figured making a stop at Suna couldn't send him any more off-trail than he already was. To his great surprise, he ran into a frog in the middle of the desert, one of his summons to be exact. Yo, Ero Senin. Why the heck are you out in the middle of nowhere? I hate places like this, shouted the orange frog as it hopped towards him. Jiraiya's brow twitched. That Gaki even has his summons calling me that now. Then it dawned on him. Naruto. Is he alive? Quickly shouted Jiraiya at Amphibian. Of course. He's not a weak kid anymore. He even managed to take out that Itachi guy, replied Gamakichi. Jiraiya's eyes widened. The Gaki took out Itachi? Naruto was improving greatly, but he wasn't near that level yet. You sure he took out Itachi? As an Uchiha Itachi? What other Itachi is there? Naruto sent the body back to Konoha a few days ago, and he wants you to meet him in Jirobe, informed the frog. Jirobe? Then I'll be on my way. He's probably almost there, said Jiraiya as he turned around and headed back out of the desert. Few days later. Finally we are here, cheered Naruto as they caught sight of the entrance to Jirobe. Now we can have a couple nice steamy bowls of ramen. It's been so long, said Yujito with a slight glaze in her eyes. Sounds good. Besides, I need to talk to you about something, said Naruto as they entered the village. This caused Yujito to think back when they both were dancing together on the lake right before the Akatsuki attacked. Naruto was about to tell her something which caused her to blush thinking about it. I wonder if he was really about to say it, but he hasn't brought it up since then. I know we haven't had much relaxing time since then, but I want to know. Geez, kitten, seems like you got it bad for that little Tom with you, at least now you're admitting it, said Nibi, interrupting Yujito's thoughts. I didn't admit anything. I'm just interested in what he was going to say, that's all. It's not good to lie to your heart. I'm not lying. He's cute, okay. But I'm not said Yujito, but Nibi interrupted. Just imagine what a young Tom like him could do with those Kage bunshins, not to mention the stamina from Kyuubi. Yujito turned bright red. See, you were quick at thinking about him pervertedly when I could have meant his fighting abilities. Not that I blame you, the prospects of someone like him in the bedroom is very inviting, purred Nibi. Hey Yujito, are you okay? You're all red in the face, asked Naruto. I am okay. Really? Nibi is just giving me a tough time, replied Yujito, a bit flustered. You sure? I never turn red when Kyuubi talks to me. What did Nibi say? Asked Naruto. And nothing. Look. Ramen. She responded quickly, then pointed at the ramen shop just ahead and took off to get away from him for a second. Naruto sighed and quickly followed. Once they sat down and ordered, Yujito looked up at Naruto. You said you wanted to talk to me about something? She asked a little nervously. She kept thinking back to Lake. Oh yeah. While we were traveling I talked to Kyubi, and he let me know something interesting about the eyes I'm carrying. What about them? Asked Yujito a little sadly. Looks like she still wasn't going to know what he was going to say before. Well, as you know, I took them so that they didn't end up in enemy hands. So Kyubi's idea was, in order to protect them best, I could implant them in my eyes, said Naruto. He was curious as to what she would think about this first. What? I know you can do that, but is that what you really want to do with them? She asked. She wasn't expecting this at all. Well, I was totally against it at first because I thought it was kinda like cheating in a way. But Kyubi also said that the leader of Akatsuki most likely is Uchiha Madara, and without these eyes we would stand little to no chance at all against him. Uchiha Madara? He should be dead, replied Yujito, shocked that someone from so long ago was still around. I don't know how, but he is. Also, Kyubi could nullify the risks of using them. But as I thought it over, I was against using them because I wanted to use my own strength. However, my true goal is to protect those precious to me, and using these eyes would only help. So then you're going to do it? She asked. I asked Kyubi if he could convert both my eyes to Sharingans if I only implant one of the eyes, and he said yes. He also said Nibi should be able to do the same, so I was wondering if you would want the eyes as well, said Naruto, dropping the bomb on her. She was too stunned to talk, definitely not what she was expecting her with the Sharingan. He's right, kitten, I can do that. He's also right in that you both could protect each other better with them, informed Nibi. So then should I? With Madara as your opponent, and at the rate you two are going, I doubt you'll be able to bring one of your nightly fantasies to life if you don't. Once again, Yujito found herself tinted red, cursing the demon cat. I think we should do it, Naruto. You think so? He asked, studying her, but ignored the discoloring on her cheeks. Yes, there's no risks and it can only aid us, right? It's not like we would rely on it either. Then after we finish our ramen, we should head over to the hospital. Luckily from my past stays I've gotten to know a few of the doctors here, he said, thinking about his past rigorous training with Jiraiya. Yujito nodded. This would be a big change for them. Just as planned, they headed towards the hospital to make their unusual request. They entered and walked up the front desk where there was a receptionist. Hello, do you know if Dr. Kigaru is available? Asked Naruto. He's on his lunch break. What do you need? Asked the woman. I have a favor to ask him. Can we speak to him? Asked Naruto. Sure, right this way, replied the nurse as she urged the two shinobi to follow her. She showed them to his office and Naruto entered with Yujito right behind him. Huh. Well, if it isn't Naruto. You've gotten a bit taller since the last time I saw you with Jiraiya, greeted Dr. Kigaru. Well, it has been over a year, replied Naruto, scratching the back of his head. And you brought a pretty young lady with you. Is this your girlfriend? Asked Kigaru. And no. She's my teammate, replied Naruto quickly. Man, everywhere we go I get asked that. Today, Yujito's favorite color seemed to be red. Damn it, I can't go 10 minutes without something or someone reminding me of this topic. Oops, sorry about that. So anyways, what can I do for you two? Asked the doctor. Well, I got an unusual request, said Naruto as he pulled out the container with Itachi's eyes. Would you be able to implant one of these into each of us? The doctor carefully observed the eyes,